This is the Jay Foreman Postgame Show on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Here's Coy Detmer dropping straight back in the pocket. Rifles a pass. It was tipped. It's picked off by Foreman. He's at the 15, 10, 5. He'll score!
A look to the left, and he kind of telegraphed it all the way. When the ball was tipped, Foreman's in the right spot.
The Jay Foreman Postgame Show is brought to you by Anderson Ford and Vinny Krekak of State Farm Insurance.
Here's Valenti dropping back, fires a pass, and it's intercepted by the Huskers at the 25, Jay Foreman. And Foreman takes it down to the 19-yard line of Oklahoma. Another big play by the Black Shirts.
Here are your hosts, Jay Foreman and Nick Sainert.
What up, Jay Foreman Postgame Show? Huskers go down, valiant effort. Tough business, man. But you want to tip your hat to Michigan. You know, they came in, and I think they played their best game so far. Was able to, at times, control the line of scrimmage and made timely plays, and their defense, stepped up pretty good. So, onward and upward, like I said, we said in the pregame show that Michigan, I wouldn't say they were desperate, but obviously they were, felt like their backs were against the wall, and they felt like they had found something the second half against Oklahoma, or a second quarter on, and is led into the expanded, role and timely plays of Underwood, and then that running attack got cranked up a little bit.
Yeah, this is a good reminder. We are here for the people. 402-464-5685, the Honda of Lincoln hotline. The Starter Heyman text line are open for you guys, as well as the Starter Heyman Jewelers live video stream on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, and Allo Cable Channel 961. Nebraska falls 30-27 to the Michigan Wolverines. They are now 3-1 overall. Nebraska 0-1 in the Big Ten Conference. And they have this to chew on, Jay, before they go into the bye week next week.
Yeah, I mean, it's there's no game's perfect, and there's plays that you probably want back and so forth and so on, but it's more of, really what the game came down to. I felt like Michigan probably did the little monotonous things better than we did. I felt like they tackled extremely well, just to my naked eye, in the open field and on first contact. I felt like Nebraska at times did the same, but not probably as consistent as Michigan. And, they have some players. I mean, Haynes is the real deal.
Yeah.
And he, to be frank, he might be the fastest dude in the stadium.
That was
at 210, 15 pounds. He could roll out on you. Yeah.
Fastest or even just most explosive.
Yeah.
I think there was the acceleration ability. We saw not saying that we don't see this week in and week out. I got to be careful here, but we saw what an all Big Ten caliber, all SEC caliber running back looks like today.
Yeah, he's the real deal. He's probably built the best that you could be. Not so short and compact. He's not very tall. I mean, he's not super tall, and he's not short, so he's kind of in the great mix, or the area where he could drop his pads on you. He has a good center of gravity. Got really good balance, and he can go from first gear to fifth gear rather quickly. And so got really good vision. I think they found a little something kind of on their outside zone, and they stuck with the running game. I think that they were able to keep the game relatively tight. Actually, they had the lead, kept it really tight, so they could really kind of still just hang around and monotonous on the run game. So you got to give them credit. It was a big kick. It seems like that kicker, I think that field goal he made was 60-some yards, right?
It was a 56-yarder.
And there was a lot left in there. And so, I think for Nebraska, it's back to the drawing board. I know this one stings, right? You're on national TV, ranked team, so forth and so on. And so now you got to really hone in and really dissect this game and understand that, every play counts in the Big Ten, and figure out what you have to really fix immediately, but then also what you have to continue to work on. And, that's hard to do, because now you don't have you don't have that get back game. You don't get to go right back into it. Now you got to really, really dig in, and, it's a lot of fundamentals. It's pad level. You got to keep hammering on the details as far as, the defense and offensive line, and the offense and defense as a whole. And you got to make improvement, because so say Nebraska was able to win this game.
Mm-hmm.
You got 24 hours, then you got to go right back to work. You lost. Then it's 24 hours to, think about the game, right back to work. The reason why that's so important is no matter you win or lose, you have to be able to wash it and you have to go right back to work. Nebraska could win this game or could have won this game by 3 points. We'd be saying the same thing.
Mm-hmm.
Play the same way and say you just somehow won by 3 more. But the other factor is that just from what I didn't see Michigan State today.
Yeah.
They are on the come up. So that's who you play at the bye week.
Michigan State plays USC later tonight.
Okay. Yeah. So they're going to be challenged. And if they don't have the same bye week as you, they could either come in, you come in down here worn out, or they could be on a little bit of a heater. But you got to really try to address yourself, the things that you can control, communication on offense and defensive line and linebackers and all that stuff. And then you got to really hammer on the fundamentals, and you can really make some improvement in the bye week. But it all depends on how you deal with this loss, whether you take it and use it as a positive or you let it linger on as a negative.
There's certainly a lot of storylines. I think, Jay, we'll get to, once again, 402-464-5685, the Honda of Lincoln hotline. It's wide open for you guys. If you guys want to come on the show, voice your frustrations to Jay and myself, voice your opinions to Jay and myself, feel free to do so. You can also text it on the text line 402-464-5685, same number there, or on the Starter Heyman Jewelers live video stream, Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, and Allo Cable Channel 961. Want to thank our sponsors as we kick things off. Vinny Kreekak of State Farm, our friends over at Baumgars, and Anderson Ford of Lincoln. All right, Jay, so what's the biggest storyline in this one? Because I think we talked about Justice Haynes. We talked about just kind of the mentality as well. A lot of running, capabilities from Michigan versus Nebraska. I think, unfortunately, though, one thing that I want to get your thought on right out of the gate is the missed opportunities on drives to capitalize on drives. Nebraska, in their first 4 drives, their first 4 drives went like this: turnover on downs, the missed field goal, interception, and then a punt. Yeah. The best looking drive out of those 4 was the opening drive.
Yeah, for sure.
Right, where they went 10 plays for 70 yards. They took 3 minutes and 50 seconds to be exact off the clock. They went for it on 4th and goal from the 5, 4th and 1 from the 5, which I liked the call to go for it. You still expect and you still want 7 in that moment, though.
In the first drive.
On the first drive. But then
it's a great decision when it works.
Sure.
And then everybody's like, it's the worst decision when it doesn't work. There's the other way to look at it. Okay, you're playing in the Big Ten. It's a huge game.
Mm-hmm.
Points are like crucial. There's a party you'd be like, all right, let's just take the points, right? And then you save that for later.
Yeah.
But then also, really, to be honest with you, everybody's going to focus on the call because it didn't work. But I think the focus needs to be, okay, look, it's 4th and 1. We have got to get that.
Yeah.
We have got to be able to push guys. So,
and on that play, just for context, Justin Evans he got there. The defensive lineman did a nice little swim move on him, and it didn't even give him a chance.
And you got to give him credit too,
yeah,
because we've made a lot of plays on 4th, or at least the first couple of years. Remember, I think Van Poppel and other guys, made plays on 4th down. Sometimes you just get beat, and so that's where you want, you want to show confidence in your offensive line, and the offensive line should want to take it upon themselves that they can, get a yard. And Michigan was just better on that play.
I think what's most frustrating for me specifically, and then I'll kind of just rattle off some texts and we can go from there, is Nebraska goes down their first drive, as we just mentioned, ended at the Michigan 5-yard line. Then the next drive that Nebraska's defense came out after Nebraska's offense got turned over on downs. The black shirts came out and forced a 3-and-out, right?
Yeah.
Like that's a great response from Nebraska's defense. Nebraska then got their next drive, the second drive of the game. It started at the 37-yard line. It ended at the 26 in the form of a missed field goal. And then you also had it later in the game where Nebraska ended at their drive at the 21 on a field goal, then on the 20 on a field goal. And then ultimately they get the touchdown in the last, possession offensively for Nebraska. But what I'm getting at is you think about the potential touchdown or just points on the first drive. There's 7 points there. Mm-hmm. You think about the missed field goal there. You add those 3 to the 7. There's 10. You talk about down the road, the field goal drive that Kyle Kanan ended up getting in the third quarter with 14 minutes and 56 seconds remaining, I guess, in the fourth quarter. It was a drive that started in the third. They got a field goal. If Isaiah Hunter doesn't step on the out-of-bounds line, that's a touchdown, right? So you're talking about a difference of 4 points there. That's 14 points that Nebraska left on the board, and we're sitting there saying this game could have been a 41-30 ball game if you just add those 14 points.
Yeah,
there were a lot of missed opportunities.
You can, but they said if was a fifth, we'd all be drunk. I mean,
Absolutely,
you can't really go on it because how we handled our business, Michigan, how they went about their business was a reflection. I would say I will agree, there was opportunities there. There was a lot of points
that were left on the field.
Sure.
Because of what Nebraska was doing is kind of what I'm getting at.
Yeah, I mean, you could say, okay, we should have had 7, but really the only guarantee that you really think that you could have had at that point in the first drive was really 3.
Okay, so even if we do 3.
Okay, so 3. And then
the missed field goal.
Okay, what was he, a 43-yard field goal?
Yes.
Okay, so you like how quick I added that up,
I
right?
did. Nice job.
43-yard field goal. I like our kicker. I like the chances. Okay, you could say, okay, if he makes that, that's 6. And then on the back line, okay, that's fine. On the flip side, Michigan had a wide open trick play, right?
Sure.
Underthrown. So they're saying that's 7 points for us.
Well, it is, but you're not saying that when you win the game,
right? But that's the counter though.
Because
this game goes. This game is when you play big games, it's about who plays the game to win and makes you can make one more simple play, and everybody looks at those plays in those situations. But I would tell you, probably you go back, could we had probably got more push up front just in a regular plays, right?
Across all 4 quarters,
to make it right. Or, okay, did we do as good as we wanted in our drop back game? Did we break as many tackles as we could? I mean, you could even say, okay, well, that Ja'Cory Barney, when he had it, I don't even know if he just pretty much slapped him on the thigh. That's at least 30 more yards, right?
Yeah.
So you got to think Nebraska need to make more plays. We need to get to the point, and I think Coach Dana might tell you we need to probably do a little bit better at taking advantage of opportunities. But outside of that, we got to play a little bit. We got to play better at just doing the basics, right? We got to tackle better. We got to do this. I would say when you really break down, when you go into here, I'll give you my own personal. We played Louisiana Tech one year, and Troy Edwards had 300 yards. Well, he had 270 on 3 catches. The other ones he had 15 other catches, but barely went for any yards. And he might have more than 3. It was an NCAA record. So when we're thinking about it, the defense now can go back and say, okay, we did, however many runs, we didn't allow explosive runs, but then we gave up 3. Well, if you count the quarterback run, 3 or 4 explosive runs. So you can peel back the onion as much as you want, but really you got to really essentially, deal with the mace that you caused yourself, and then you have to address the things that you can control. And one of those of what you're saying is situational football. The other thing is more importantly is the basics: running, blocking, tackling. Because running, blocking, tackling at a higher efficiency rate really dictates how another team can how you can really attack those situational footballs. We're both right, but I was
going to say, I think what we both kind of just talked about was we're not disagreeing with each other, because you're absolutely right in that there was a lot of things that Michigan frankly failed at, especially in the passing game. I told you, and everybody can agree with this, is that if Michigan can look at their program next year going into next season and say, let's get a couple of guys that can catch the football. And Michigan's going to be a pretty dangerous team there in Ann Arbor. I think my thought was that, we're getting this a lot on the text line, Jay, of same stuff over and over again, Nebraska beating Nebraska. Like the missed field goal, that's nothing that Michigan happened. And I'm not trying to get caught up on just the 3 points or just sitting here and being naive and saying, okay, well, let's add this up. Nebraska for left points on the field in here, and that's 6 and that's 13. And if you add those together, it's this score to this score. I understand that it's a game of ebbs and flows and momentum and things like that, but it is frustrating when Nebraska once again falls to a ranked team. Let's go to the Honda of Lincoln hotline. We are joined on the Honda of Lincoln. No, we are not. All right.
But I'm
Garrett
gonna
hung
tell
up.
you, these games are, I know from a player's perspective, and I know just only from the experience of the coaches that coach me. I can only talk, for my experience. And I learned, and I remember being in a team meeting, and Coach Samuel was my first position coach, and obviously Coach McBride, and just talking about monotonous stuff. You know what I mean, and how important it is, to chase the ball, rally to the ball, because one tackle can win you a national championship. And here's an example: we played at Colorado, and we were way better than them. We came out, I think AG went house call 80 right off the rip. We get into a dogfight there in Chuck and Duck time, right? And they had us reeling, right? Okay, we're a standing 8 count. They start to get some points. And the pursuit drill is how we were able to make a tackle on 3rd and 15. That play right there stopped the bleeding. We go on to win a national championship. The reason why I'm saying that's important is because when you prepare for a game like this, and I remember Coach Osborne said, listen, we're going to play this thing tight. We're going to play steady. But our steady will surely, as the game goes, will start to be more aggressive, and we got more energy in the tank. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
We would just tighten, and tighten was kind of like was it anaconda or whatever?
Yeah.
And that's how we were able to kind of really, dummy the game down, from start to finish. Because when you got to really analyze, and that's what I was talking about, a team like Michigan that was desperate to stay out of 2 losses, you're going to get their best shot. They're going to be tight because they know they need this game to get the respect of an upcoming team like Nebraska. But then also a 2:30 game, everybody's like, man, look at our quarter. You get what I'm saying? So that's where they were really approached the game with a different mindset coming in. So you're going to get their best, their very best.
Once again, 402-464-5685, the Honda of Lincoln hotline, the Starter Heyman text line open for you guys. Let's rattle through some texts here. Jay, I'm just going to go in order and interrupt me if you want to mention and kind of expand on one of them. 9775 on the text line says, another year of bad football, not tough enough to play in the Big Ten Conference. Isaac says, good game, couldn't stop the run when we were 100%, they were running. Isaac and Lincoln. Somebody says on the text line, hey guys, and this is interesting. It's an interesting take that's been common in the text line already. Hey guys, Dylan Raiola's not it. All he does is sit back there and wait. Can't win a championship in college with a QB that isn't a little bit elusive. He needs to gain 40 pounds and hop on the offensive line. We have the next texter that says Raiola holds the ball way too long, needs to figure it out and fast. How many points have we left out there this season on our lackluster red zone offense? Another texter, disappointing, but it feels like to me that the better team won. Still aren't to the point where we make the plays that we need to make, and Michigan did. To that point exactly, what the most impressive drive, when you look at both teams tonight, Michigan and Nebraska, the most impressive drive, Jay, was the one that Michigan got a field goal on from 21 yards out to extend the lead to 30-20, where Bryce Underwood, a true freshman quarterback, leads the offense on an 8-minute, 46-second drive, 16 plays, 77 yards. Michigan ran the ball when they wanted to. They ran the ball when they needed to, and they closed out the game on that drive.
Yeah, that was impressive. And we missed I think a couple crucial tackles. I think one in particular on a 3rd down. They had that little kind of like bubble swing screen where it looked like maybe number 0 was down, kept his balance, got a sneaky 1st down. So they made more plays than us, from the beginning to the end, and you got to tip your hat. And so there's things that we got to go work on and address immediately. And, that's just where you're at right now, after a disappointing loss. But you got to really, same thing I said last week, get, whether it's rat poison, whatever you want to call it, you got to get right back to it and get busy.
Cubskers still haven't beaten a ranked team since 2016. Ben says Nebraska can't block or tackle. Same old story, different year. Triple H's dad says Teddy got whooped all game long. It wasn't even one guy on the offensive line. There was a moment right out of the gate where on the left tackle, at the left tackle position, Gunnar Gatula had to get replaced. Elijah Pritchett came in and ended up getting beat immediately when he started out there. It wasn't one or the other. Unfortunately, Nebraska's offensive line had a really tough day at the office.
Yeah, Michigan's defense was their bell cow coming in.
Mm-hmm.
They are big, they are fast, they are physical. They got number 6 back, I think, because he was injured last year. He's a dude, even though he pretty much helped Nebraska stay in the game. They lost 2 first-round picks in the interior, gained it looked like a couple on the outside, and then they kind of rotate inside. You know, you got the 2 starters, one from Clemson, one from Bama. They did a pretty good job, both as muddying the waters on the inside-outside game, and then they ran a really unique kind of blitz stunt, and it was cash money records every time they did it when they wanted to get a sack.
Let's go back to the phone lines. I think we got Danico on the line. Danico, appreciate you being patient, my friend. What's on your mind today?
How you fellas doing today?
Good, man.
Well, I just got a few things I want to touch on. First of all, man, you know, it was a game where, you know, it was kind of crazy because we went down that first drive and we should have at least got a field goal, 4th and 2. I mean, we started to take too many chances in every game I've seen this year. We got to start taking points when we have a chance to take points, because that could have definitely made a difference in the game. Another thing, I feel like we just got out-coached. I mean, we made no adjustments when it came to the running game, you know, guys being in a gap, you know, and then also when it came to the offense, you know, offensive line is taking too much heat. Some of that stuff is on Dylan. He's holding the ball too long. He's trying to find that big play down the field. He's got to learn to take what they give him and stop, you know, holding the ball too long. And if anything, step up in the pocket instead of stepping back. So, you know, I just think, you know, all around, man, we just pretty much let a big opportunity slip by. You know, we just, like I said, we got out-coached, we got outplayed, and we just got to do better, especially in big games.
Thanks, Danico. Appreciate it. Jay, we've heard that complaint often so far tonight through the text line, now through the phone calls. What's your analysis and evaluation of Dylan after today's game?
I mean, like I said earlier, he's a young quarterback. He's learning. I mean, this is the first time you experience Wink Martindale, and it's a different experience. And the reason why I think it's experience because Wink is very savvy and very good at what he does as far as being a defensive coordinator and disguising coverages, making you do something that you don't want to do. Really. So what you're saying, he's got to take what the defense gives you. He's taking that away.
Yeah.
And with his personnel that they have, you know, because he's only been there, this is his 2nd season. But the one thing he does is he plays to the strengths of his defensive unit, and they can cover, they can tackle, and they're all. He puts a lot of pressure on the players to learn his scheme, even though it's very simple. The things that he does pre-snap and during the play is probably not the norm throughout the Big Ten, and in particular, you know, through college football. And so he experienced that. And, you know, yeah, sure, he probably held the ball a little bit at times. Guys got to get open. Yeah, you could go back and say you got to step up. Listen, they were the D-line. Listen. Those dudes were the biggest dudes that they were some big, fast human beings. So they're in the passing lane.
Yeah.
And sure, Dylan could do better. I'm sure he's going to, take it on the shoulders, but you also got to give Michigan credit. It's their personnel and they have a really good defensive line coach. They're trying to get in the passing lanes, and then they're trying to confuse you with the coverages. Then on the cherry on top, they got some talent. They got some talent. So, we're going to take a quick break, come back, then we'll probably answer some texts, get some phone calls. Appreciate you, Danico, as always. That's my man. Jay Foreman Postgame Show. We'll be right back.
I'm Kirk Herbstreit, and today I'm eating Raising Cane's.
Herbstreit's in the drive-thru again. Oh, hey, Kirk. What can I get you today?
I want a solid bench of 4 chicken fingers that are real difference makers. Sprinkle cut fries with dynamic ridge patterns, Texas toast, and cane sauce with an air of smugness that comes from knowing you're the best. Now back to you, Todd.
So the usual.
Make Raising Cane's part of your game day lineup. One love.
At Jimmy John's, we don't make sandwiches. We make the sandwich of sandwiches. We use fresh veggies because we don't hate salads. We just feel bad for them. We make our sandwiches exactly how you want because you're the one who's eating it. And we bake bread all day, every day because stale bread isn't bread. It's croutons. Sandwich history is written by the victors. Good thing we have legible handwriting. Jimmy John's, the sandwich of sandwiches. Order pickup or delivery on the app.
can't believe I just scratched that car. Find my insurance card.
Dude, what do you have in this glove box? Ew, are these socks dirty?
Oh, forget about the socks. I need my insurance card.
Just pull it up on the State Farm mobile app.
But I can do that? Oh, hey, I can do that.
Yep, it's called service.
I can file a claim on here, too?
Yeah, it's called service.
Whoa, I can call my agent, too?
It's called service.
Call your local State Farm agent, Vinny Krikak, today at 402-474-1173.
This fall, Baumgars has everything you need to get your farm ready for the season. Stock up on livestock feed, deer corn, and pine shavings to keep your animals fed and your farm running smoothly. Need tools for your fall projects? Grab DeWalt power tools and grass seed to keep your fields in top shape before winter. From your barn to your backyard, Baumgars has you covered. Get ready for the season with everything you need to finish those fall fix-ups. Baumgars, field, farm, and fall fix-ups.
We strive to help people get into home ownership. That is the American dream. Having something that you can go home at night and say, this is mine, is very important. The great thing about Remington Homes is affordability.
Bob Benish of Aspen Builders, talking about their exciting new division, Remington Homes, which makes the home building process easier.
The exciting thing about a Remington home is you get to choose your floor plan from predetermined floor plans. We give you a lot of choices, and you couple that with our great lot selection in all different areas. People do not want to be married to their house payment. They want to get a nice house with nice finishes in a great area for an affordable price. And that's what Remington Homes are all about.
Home building is easier with a Remington home from Aspen Builders at 423-6811. Online at remingtonlincoln.com. remingtonlincoln.com.
Are you ready for a new opportunity? Check out Sandhills Global. Join a dynamic team where your skills are valued and your career can soar. We offer full-time positions with a 4.5-day work week, competitive pay, excellent benefits, and a positive work environment. From IT and marketing to sales and finance, we're looking for talented individuals just like you. Apply today at sandhills.jobs and take the first step towards an exciting future. That's sandhills.jobs. Don't wait, apply now.
Anderson Ford in Lincoln has 2 convenient locations, which means 2 times the customer service, 2 times the inventory, and 2 times the ability to get you in the car of your dreams. Whether you visit us on the north side or the south side, you'll find more selection and a team that's always on your side. When you're looking for a better way to buy your next Ford, visit Anderson Ford in Lincoln, where exceptional service meets unbeatable selection.
Sometimes good people make mistakes. When you find yourself in need of an attorney, call Liberty Law Group. The attorneys at Liberty Law Group will defend you in court and protect your freedom to get you the best possible outcome and the justice you deserve. Trust your freedom to Liberty Law Group, the best criminal attorneys in Nebraska and Iowa. Call them today at 877-404-5238. That's 877-404-5238. Or check them out online at libertylawgroup.com.
Back to the Jay Foreman Postgame Show on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com. Powered by Baumgars, Anderson Ford, and Vinny Krikak of State Farm Insurance. Here are your hosts, Jay Foreman and Nick Sainer.
What up? We're back, Jay Foreman Postgame Show. Obviously, we appreciate everybody obviously out there lost, and after a big game. It's going to be on and popping. We probably should have been extended it past an hour and a half, but we got a couple callers, right, Nick?
Yeah, let's go.
Right, let's get it.
Let's go right to the Honda of Lincoln hotline, 464-5685. Got a couple to get to. First up, it's Matthew and Hickman. Matt, what's up, my friend? What's on your mind tonight?
What up, fellas? Appreciate you guys always taking us past, a couple hours after the game and filling us in with your guys' thoughts. I feel torn, right? Like I feel like the defense kept us in the game, but still. We're missing open field tackles, and we're not taking them down at first contact. It doesn't look like we're wrapping up right. I don't know what the quarterback stat comparison is, but the last I saw counting is they had 6 on us, and we had 1. I feel like Dylan's running for his life back there at times, but at the same time, the difference maker to me is the threat of the quarterback run. I don't know if it's something that's being talked about in the quarterback room, like, hey, we don't want you taking off running, but that can't be it, right? I mean, I've never obviously been in a D1 locker room, but that can't be the case. To me, it seems like Dylan is not. He's not using his feet as a weapon like we thought, like we think he can or he should. I don't know. I'm curious to hear your guys' thoughts, man. I feel like we're a much more dangerous team. Any Big Ten team's a much more dangerous team when your fear is that he can go for 40, 60 yards on a run. I appreciate everything you guys do for Husker Nation, man. Love you guys. Bye.
Thanks, Matt. There he is. Jay, thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, the quarterback run, I mean, that's look, we lost to Texas, and James Brown, nobody knows who he is, but he played the game of his life against us, and he at times wore our butt out, and it happens to the best of us. I don't think because you lose this game, you always say, all right, Dylan, you're not running enough quarterback. He's a primarily a pocket quarterback. When you go to the next level, that's what you got to do. Yeah, sure, you want to be. I would say we need to be more strategic, the hardest quarterbacks for me, or I think the best quarterbacks, are the ones that I call them. They gut you with the run. 3rd and 6, they get 8. Then they might bust off the Patrick Mahomes.
They might be able to slip a tackle,
right? It's the Patrick Mahomes,
feel like,
right?
man, we should have had him a couple yards behind the line of scrimmage, but nope.
But that's not how. That's not how we lost the game. We gave up pretty much 300 yards rushing. Right, we gave up explosive run. Underwood, Marshall, and Haynes all had explosive runs.
Yeah,
and we didn't have enough explosive runs. We had 14-1 or 14 yard by Emmett, and then Nelson had 11. And we didn't. They only had 100 yards passing, but it really was timely passes. They had probably about 8 drops, and then one of them was Morgan. First of all, he had the drops today, and then. They missed the wide open touchdown. So I think it's more or less, this is not the time to say, okay, we need their quarterback.
Yeah.
And because he did it, it's just like last year. I tell people, don't sit up here and talk about Indiana. We got to worry about what we're doing first. And Indiana's doing their thing. We got to really just fix ourselves before we try to out there reshape the roster again.
Let's go back to the Honda Lincoln Hotline. Mike's been patient. Mike, thanks for the time, my friend. What's on your mind?
Hey, I was just wondering, when Michigan players, when our guys get out in space, they don't miss tackles. It sure seemed to me that those guys tackle like they were taught to tackle. Man, they bring them down. When their guys get out in space, and I'm not talking about when their running backs made long runs and nobody touched them, like on bubble screens or whatever, their receivers look like matadors, on our tacklers look like the bull. They just do a little ole and we're right by them and away they go. Why is that? Are we taking bad angles, Jay? What is that? I mean, it happens all the time. Is it bad angles? Do we just attack them like our hair's on fire and we pursue too hard? What is it? But we missed a lot of open tackles. And Michigan seemed to me, from sitting at the game, they didn't miss those tackles, but we sure did. Thanks,
Mike.
Yeah, they did a good job of getting us in some compromising positions where, if one guy misses, then they're able to extend the obviously the play, and obviously their yards after contact and yards after the catch was pretty good. I think tackling generally, when you tackle well, you really tackle in tight spaces. That means there's nowhere for anybody to go. So that's the difference of, I think, Michigan and Nebraska, and that's one thing Wink Martindale does. He really just condenses the field. And people don't understand that because, number one, you don't know Wink. I've been knowing him since I was 20-some years old, and I know what he's doing. And so it's just a difference of knowing your why is start there. And, no defense is set up to say, okay, we're going to run our defense and one guy has to make a tackle and you live and die by that. When you're really hot, and you know what, Michigan tackled well. This is probably the best that they've tackled. They made some really good tackles. And the way they get it, they tackle, they go right, same leg, same shoulder, same hit, or hip, and they run through, and they're pretty violent, when they started to really try to be more physical.
We're going to get to another phone call here in just a second. I mean, a big conversation point so far today has been the sacks. Nebraska Dylan Raiola was sacked 7 times in today's game for a loss of total of 49 yards. At one point, Nebraska's defense had 1 sack on Bryce Underwood. That sack was from Dasan McCullough in the first half, I believe. But nonetheless, it's a spot to where Dasan McCullough got the sack. Let's go back to the Honda Lincoln hotline, 402-464-5685. We got Russell on the line. Russell, thanks for being patient. What's on your mind?
Hey, so we lost to Michigan, but I want to say John Smith is a good coach. Michigan State's coming to town next week. How can we make ourselves better to sort ourselves in the middle of the pack of the Big Ten with Michigan State? Because I feel like that is a real litmus test to see if we're in the middle of the pack for the Big Ten.
Thanks, Russell. Michigan State coming in 2 weeks. Next week is a bye week, but still, go ahead, Jay.
Yeah, I mean, it's a good point. They are, they're on the come up. I mean, I think their quarterback Childs is. I mean, we've seen him in Big Ten. He's a bigger kid, and he got a little bit shake and bake to him. They got a big test tonight, and before we start thinking about Michigan State, we just got to go and handle what we need to do. And how do you do that? Number one, you got to address whatever the main concerns are. You also got to be realistic when you do it, right? You got to look at, okay, Michigan is what they have. The quarterback can get down. The running back can make you miss, and running backs. And then you have to say, okay, well, where did we fail ourselves at? Is it gap control? Is it scheme? Is it a mix of both? Or is it more fundamentals and technique? And then also is experience, because you got a lot of inexperienced players playing, and then also they're inexperienced playing with each other. So you got to use this bye week to continue to make progress. And you're not getting a new roster. You're not going out here and making a whole bunch of trades like they do in the NFL and reshape, your D line and all this other stuff. So the guys that they have on the roster got to take it upon themselves and play better. So you can make a ton of improvement, and that's what they have to do. And it starts with the fundamentals on both sides of the ball, and it's execution and knowing the why. And then that's why these little things, right, that we're talking about now, Michigan, tackling, breaking tackles, that's what you have to really focus on among other things, in the bye week.
Man named Ashley on the text line says, I'm less hurt by this loss than I think most will be going into it. I thought it was a horrible matchup. Nebraska is a top 5 pass defense, below average rush defense. Michigan's only way to score is big run plays. Thought we might get on a run today, but I don't think anyone left on our schedule can run on us like this. You got Penn State Nittany Lions in November that certainly have two pretty good running backs.
USC can run it in their own way, or at least they'll do a quarterback. They'll do it, whatever. Yeah. I mean, Michigan State will kind of try to come in and run it. I mean, I think at this point, you got to make sure that you do what you can't think about. First of all, you got to, take 24 hours, deal with this loss, and you got to address it, and you got to really, be realistic about it. If you up here just throw your hands up and say the season's over, you fourth game in the season. It'd be no different if we were able to win this game 30-27 and had the same output offensively, or just played the same, but we actually were win. I would tell you the same thing. You don't have the world's problem solved after beating Michigan and being 4-0. You don't. The world isn't ending by being 3-1. So everything that you want is ahead of you, but the only way you're going to get there is by putting in the work and addressing it. Just no different if you want.
We have Zach on the Honda of Lincoln hotline. Zach, what's on your mind this afternoon?
Oh, boys, what a disappointment. Losing 30-27, and I'm sure people have harped on this already. You get the ball on 4th and 2, you take the points. How many times have we lost by a field goal? You take the points. Offensive line, all I heard all offseason is how they're going to win the Best O-Line award. They looked absolutely pathetic today. And that run defense, woo, we're going to lose a lot of games this year in the Big Ten if we don't shore that up immediately. But I'll harp again. You always take the points, especially after all the one-loss games we have. I don't understand the rationale. If you guys could try to just rationalize that to me, because I am just I'm sick. I'm sick. We could have at least gone to overtime. Take the points.
Thanks,
Thank you.
Appreciate it, Zach. We'll just leave it there.
I
We
think
talked about it a little bit.
You got to also understand is that when you're up by 2 scores, defensively, you're trying to just make them eat up as much What's clock?
I was just going to let you just keep on going.
Why didn't you get the dump button?
Well, because here's the
No, you
thing.
didn't.
No, here,
Anyways.
I think what Zach is referring to is the first drive of the game as well. The one that we talked about where Nebraska elected to go
You're
for it on
talking about
fourth
the
and
3
short.
points right now, but with about a 2 points, two score game, do not clip that. Yeah, 2-score game, and you're going to give up. I wouldn't say you're always going to give up a touchdown, but as long as you're making them, use the clock, then you're just fine.
Once again, 402-464-5685, the Honda of Lincoln hotline, the Starter Heyman text line are open for you guys, as well as the Starter Heyman Jewelers live video stream, Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, Allo Cable Channel 961. Let's go to a couple of comments that are on the stream, so I don't forget about you guys over there. We have a lot of people that are criticizing the defensive scheme Nebraska runs. I've also seen a couple of comments that I'm not even going to mention about staff changes already. Like, I feel like, understandably so, there's a lot of emotions. Emotions are running high on an afternoon and evening like this, a game where you felt like there was a big opportunity, Jay, and Nebraska comes up short for a lot of the same reasons that we have talked about in the past years. One other thing that I'll add on to what Zach was kind of going on about with in the past, 1-score losses have been a massive bugaboo for Nebraska.
Yeah.
You can't allow you can't allow revisionist history to like play a part into how you manage a game today.
No, I mean, it's
like you can't call and make decisions out of fear or out of what's happened in the past.
You're going to be in 1-score games in the Big Ten more weekends than not.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, that's just the way you're in the best. You're in the best league, or whether you want to call it the second best or best league. The two best conferences is the Big Ten and the SEC. So you're going to be in a lot of 1-score games, and you could lose a 2-score game and they just get a last-second touchdown. Or you could get a backdoor, as they like to say it, 1-score game by scoring a late touchdown. I mean, at the end of the day, you got to do the things, early, middle, and late in order to put yourself in a position to close out games. And whether you want to talk about whether you should, took the 3 points at the first, drive of the game, or you can focus on majority of the game, and that's, the running blocking and tackling aspect.
Let's go get one more phone call before we take a break. It's John on the line. John, thanks for being patient, my friend. What's on your mind?
Hey, guys. How's it going?
Not too bad. What's up?
So, the inability to pull up their pants and play big, grown man defense when the game is on the line, they played great the first half. But when it came down to it, when the going got tough, they fell. Until they can figure that out, how to be tough on defense when they need to stop a run to win the game, we're going to be mediocre just like we are now. That's all I got.
Thanks, John. I know Jay is on the line as well. Jay, sit tight. We're going to get to you after the commercial break. I would say this. Nebraska wasn't great defensively in the first half. This is going to be a sense of a little bit of reality. You can't rely on a Hail Mary every single game. That first half feels quite a bit different in the same way as if Nebraska kicks a couple of field goals, makes them, and converts into points. It feels a little bit different as well. Conversely, if Nebraska doesn't get the Hail Mary at the end of the first half too.
Yeah.
Nebraska's defense wasn't great by any means at stopping the run in the first half. They allowed 154 yards on the ground on 12 attempts. You're talking about allowing 12.8.
That was the big one, right?
Yeah, and that's scaled a little bit, but still take away the 75-yard run. In terms of rushing just 11 times, the average yards per carry were not great defensively for Nebraska against Michigan on the ground. But I know we were up against the break, and we'll have Jay on the other side, Jay. But it's both halves were not great for Nebraska defensively.
Yeah. We'll think about it. Take a quick break. Jay Foreman Postgame Show. We'll be right back.
Stonebrook Exterior is your trusted partner in exterior solutions for both residential and commercial projects across Lincoln and Omaha. With over 2 decades of expertise, they deliver everything your building needs, all under one roof. From roofing and siding to gutters, wall systems, custom masonry, and metalwork, Stonebrook handles it all with precision, safety, and professionalism. Take the worry out of your exterior projects. Choose Stonebrook Exterior, where quality, safety, and service come together seamlessly. Visit stonebrookexterior.com or call 402-438-5559 to get your free quote today.
Join LES at 6 p.m. Thursday, October 9th at the LES Operations Center to learn about the utilities' proposed 2026 budget and electric rates, and share your input at the annual public meeting. Learn more at les.com.
Are you looking for an exciting new way to put your skills to work? Explore new career options in the fintech industry at Currency, a Sandhills Global company. We offer full-time positions in financial sales, compliance, operations, and other fields. We also offer a 4.5-day work week, an attractive benefits package, and opportunities for advancement. Put your motivation to work and grow with us at Currency. Visit gocurrency.com/careers to learn more.
Anderson Ford in Lincoln has 2 convenient locations, which means 2 times the customer service, 2 times the inventory, and 2 times the ability to get you in the car of your dreams. Whether you visit us on the north side or the south side, you'll find more selection and a team that's always on your side. When you're looking for a better way to buy your next Ford, visit Anderson Ford in Lincoln, where exceptional service meets unbeatable selection.
At Jimmy John's, we don't make sandwiches. We make the sandwich of sandwiches. We use fresh veggies because we don't hate salads. We just feel bad for them. We make our sandwiches exactly how you want because you're the one who's eating it. And we bake bread all day, every day because stale bread isn't bread. It's croutons. Sandwich history is written by the victors. Good thing we have legible handwriting. Jimmy John's, the sandwich of sandwiches. Order pickup or delivery on the app.
Okay, friends, if you haven't seen the new TV and audio experiences at Schaefer's, you are seriously missing out. They just got a glow up, and it's a whole vibe. We're talking custom frame TVs, invisible speakers, and plenty of giant TV options. And there may or may not be cold brew on tap in the kegerator. Whether you're designing a man cave, a lady lounge, or just a really good movie night, this is a great place to start. Come check out the new showrooms only at Schaefer's, local, trusted, and cooler than ever.
Nebraska farmers, harvest is here and every gallon counts. That's why Sapp Brothers Petroleum launched the Go Big Red Fuel Giveaway. When you contract your fuel with Sapp Brothers, enter to win $1,000 in fuel credits. As Husker Country knows, the only thing stronger than the roar at Memorial Stadium is the drive of a farmer putting food on the table. Fuel your farm with Sapp Brothers Petroleum and enter to win $1,000 in fuel credits. Visit sapbros.net today. Sapp Brothers Petroleum, fueling the heartland. Go Big Red.
This fall, Baumgars has everything you need to get your farm ready for the season. Stock up on livestock feed, deer corn, and pine shavings to keep your animals fed and your farm running smoothly. Need tools for your fall projects? Grab DeWalt power tools and grass seed to keep your fields in top shape before winter. From your barn to your backyard, Baumgars has you covered. Get ready for the season with everything you need to finish those fall fix-ups. Baumgars, field, farm, and fall fix-ups.
Hey guys, it's Adam Carricker here. As a former Husker and NFL player, I'm a health nut. Hydration and recovery starts at home. That's why I teamed up with Culligan of Lincoln. Soft water means better showers, cleaner dishes, and it protects my water heater and appliances. Their high-efficiency softener cuts salt and water usage. For drinking, I added a Culligan reverse osmosis. Bottled quality water right at my tap. Great taste, and it's certified to reduce tough contaminants like lead and PFAs. Right now, get up to $300 off a whole home system or just $9.95 per month for your first 3 months. Schedule your free water test at CulliganHuskers.com. That's CulliganHuskers.com. Culligan of Lincoln, water you love. Go Big Red.
Limited time offer, participating dealers, restrictions may apply.
I can't believe I just scratched that car. Find my insurance card.
Dude, what do you have in this glove box? Ew, are these socks dirty?
Oh, forget about the socks. I need my insurance card.
Just pull it up on the State Farm mobile app.
But I can do that? Oh, hey, I can do that.
Yep, it's called service.
I can file a claim on here too?
Yeah, it's called service.
Whoa, I could call my agent too?
It's called service.
Call your local State Farm agent, Vinny Kreekak, today at 402-474-1173.
Back to the Jay Foreman Postgame Show on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com. Powered by Baumgars, Anderson Ford, and Vinny Krekak of State Farm Insurance. Here are your hosts, Jay Foreman and Nick Sainert.
What up, we're back, Jay Foreman Postgame Show. Quick segment here before we get to the top of the hour. A lot going on. Obviously, with the loss and a lot of opinions. Everybody wants to say, hey, man, I always tell people will flip on you quick, man.
Yeah.
And so it's back to the drawing board. You know, there's some good things, some not so good things, and it's up to the players. I get in the coaches as well. You got to go back and figure it out. That's what the bye week's for.
Let's get back to the Honda Lincoln Hotline. We've got Jay, who's been patiently waiting through the break. Jay, appreciate you. What's on your mind this evening?
Thank you, guys. Boy, that one hurt. That was a litmus test. You know, it's year 3, and I was on a group text with my buddies, and we said this offense looks like Baylor had a baby with Texas Tech. It was all spice, no meat and potatoes. We're going empty, and I think they had 7 sacks. Number one on defense, I don't know if he's an outside linebacker, but how do we not put Luke or Heinrich right on him and run the damn ball right at him? Or at least leave him there to chip. I mean, these things were obvious. All these cool routes and everything, Dylan doesn't even have 2 seconds to throw the ball. And it's just, you've got to know that playing Michigan out of everybody. And I guess that was the most disappointing thing for me. But that's pretty much all I had. And what do you guys think about that? But thank you, guys.
Thanks, Jay. Thanks for the patience. He was referring to Jay-Sean Barham of Michigan, senior linebacker, had 4 tackles, a sack, and 2 of those tackles were for loss. As we're on this, I've seen a lot, just for context to clear up things. Nebraska, it says overall statistically that they averaged 1.4 yards per carry. That's not quite accurate because in college it takes sacks into account. None of those play calls for Dylan that he got sacked on were designed runs. He had seven. It shows that he had 7 carries for negative 49 yards. You take away those 49 yards and those 7 carries, and Nebraska averaged a little over 3.8 yards per carry. Certainly not anywhere to where it should be or where you'd want it to be, but it's not nearly as bad as that 1.4 that you can look at and just kind of gather just from looking at the stat sheet.
Yeah. You know, that Barnum is, you should know who he is. He was a dude at Maryland. Michigan went in the portal. Knew there was, and we talked about Mike Loxley at Big Ten Media Day, said that he lost the locker room based on like some NIL stuff, and he's one of the guys that left and found a home at Michigan. They were very active defensively as far as their front, and yeah, it's great. Yeah, you could run right at him, but you got to think Ernest Hausman got busy a little bit. Sanders and Hillman, he's a really good dude. Moore, I mean, they have, I mean, that's their deal. Their offense obviously was big plays in the run game, very pedestrian in the pass game. The defense set the table, and everybody's, you know, you could, when you look at it, nobody's really called in and said anything. This game was won and lost on third down. Nebraska was 2 of 12 on third down. Some were third and very long. Some were third and manageable. Missed a couple throws, didn't, you know, complete a couple. But Michigan was able to really play their game at their pace. They never really got sped up offensively. And then defensively, you know, they played fast and not a hurry. And then when they were able to try to unleash the dogs, they were able to do it because, you know, the second level and the third level kind of matched up their timing on their blitzes and obviously in their pass rush.
On the third down conversation, Michigan actually, and this was where Nebraska was still competitive at the start of the fourth quarter. Going into the fourth quarter, Michigan on third down was just 1 of 9 on third down going into the fourth quarter.
Yeah.
But then we talked about it when they wanted to close out the game. And this is to your point, Jay, they were able in the fourth quarter. Michigan was 3 for 4 on third downs. All three of those coming on that 16 play drive that consumed over 8 minutes.
Yeah. And they money time, it almost seemed like they set up some things in the first, especially in the third quarter, for the potential that they were going to be up 2 scores, and they really cashed in on that last drive. So, you know, look, you got to tip your hat off to them, and then you got to make sure you look at yourself deep and clear. So, anyways, we're going to take a quick break, come back at the top of the hour. Jay Foreman Postgame Show. We'll be right back.
This fall, Baumgars has everything you need to get your farm ready for the season. Stock up on livestock feed, deer corn, and pine shavings to keep your animals fed and your farm running smoothly. Need tools for your fall projects? Grab DeWalt power tools and grass seed to keep your fields in top shape before winter. From your barn to your backyard, Baumgars has you covered. Get ready for the season with everything you need to finish those fall fix-ups. Baumgars, field, farm, and fall fix-ups.
MWR is dedicated to building attractive, affordable steel buildings that exceed your expectations. From commercial to residential to agriculture storage, steel buildings are cost-effective, attractive, and versatile. Plus, they're a lasting investment and an ideal choice. MWR uses Sentinel Building Systems out of Albion and can service you all over the state and region. If you have interest in a steel building, post-frame building, or fencing, give MWR a call today at 402-980-5273 or go to mwrbuildingandfence.com.
Are you looking for an exciting new way to put your skills to work? Explore new career options in the fintech industry at Currency, a Sandhills global company. We offer full-time positions in financial sales, compliance, operations, and other fields. We also offer a 4.5-day work week, an attractive benefits package, and opportunities for advancement. Put your motivation to work and grow with us at Currency. Visit gocurrency.com/careers to learn more.
Husker fans know when you work together, great things happen. At Cornhusker Bank, they're more than your financial partner. With 5 locations in Lincoln and 1 in Omaha, they're your neighbors, your teammates, and your biggest fans. Whether you're saving for your first home, planning your future, or growing your business, they're right here in Nebraska to help you move forward together. Visit cornhusker.bank to learn more. Cornhusker Bank, member FDIC, doing life together.
Hi, this is Tom Osborne. Join me on September 23rd and dine at your favorite local Renza in support of Teammates Mentoring. 10% of Renza sales on September 23rd will benefit your local Teammates Mentoring chapter. Teammates Mentoring helps students reach their full potential by providing a caring adult mentor to meet with them once a week in school. Thank you for your support of Teammates Mentoring. We will see you at Runza on September 23rd.
Stonebrook Exterior is your trusted partner in exterior solutions for both residential and commercial projects across Lincoln and Omaha. With over 2 decades of expertise, they deliver everything your building needs, all under one roof. From roofing and siding to gutters, wall systems, custom masonry, and metalwork, Stonebrook handles it all with precision, safety, and professionalism. Take the worry out of your exterior projects. Choose Stonebrook Exterior, where quality, safety, and service come together seamlessly. Visit stonebrookexterior.com or call 402-438-5559 to get your free quote today.
Are you ready for a new opportunity? Check out Sandhills Global. Join a dynamic team where your skills are valued and your career can soar. We offer full-time positions with a 4.5-day work week, competitive pay, excellent benefits, and a positive work environment. From IT and marketing to sales and finance, we're looking for talented individuals like you. Apply today at sandhills.jobs and take the first step towards an exciting future. That's sandhills.jobs. Don't wait, apply now.
Hey there, this is Paul Scheel, owner of High Electric. I want to thank our friends and loyal customers and introduce High Electric to those looking for a new electrician. We've been serving the Lincoln and Omaha area for over 30 years, from design to install, upgrades, and repair. If you are a homeowner or a small business needing some electrical work, call us at 402-466-6606 or check us out at hyelectric.com. We look forward to hearing from you.
I can't believe I just scratched that car. Find my insurance card.
Dude, what do you have in this glove box? Ew, are these socks dirty?
Forget about the socks. I need my insurance card.
Just pull it up on the State Farm mobile app.
But I can do that? Oh, hey, I can do that.
Yep, it's called service.
I can file a claim on here too?
Yeah, it's called service.
Whoa, I can call my agent too?
It's called service.
Call your local State Farm agent, Vinny Krikak, today at 402-474-1173.
This is Lincoln's home for sports talk on the FM dial. Also online at theticketfm.com. On the internet, KNTK FM Firth, 93.7 The Ticket.
Okay, friends, if you haven't seen the new TV and audio experiences at Schaefer's, you are seriously missing out. They just got a glow up, and it's a whole vibe. We're talking custom frame TVs, invisible speakers, and plenty of giant TV options. And there may or may not be cold brew on tap in the kegerator. Whether you're designing a man cave, a lady lounge, or just a really good movie night, this is a great place to start. Come check out the new showrooms only at Schaefer's, local, trusted, and cooler than ever.
Nebraska farmers, harvest is here and every gallon counts. That's why Sapp Brothers Petroleum launched the Go Big Red Fuel Giveaway. When you contract your fuel with Sapp Brothers, enter to win $1,000 in fuel credits. As Husker Country knows, the only thing stronger than the roar at Memorial Stadium is the drive of a farmer putting food on the table. Fuel your farm with Sapp Brothers Petroleum and enter to win $1,000 in fuel credits. Visit sapbros.net today. Sapp Brothers Petroleum, fueling the heartland. Go Big Red.
Back to the Jay Foreman Postgame Show on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com. Powered by Baumgars, Anderson Ford, and Vinny Kreekak of State Farm Insurance. Here are your hosts, Jay Foreman and Nick Sainer.
Yeah, I think the fans were elite today. It was an amazing crowd. I think, the last thing I have a right to do right now is say anything. There was too much pressure on the quarterbacks, too much sacks. Yeah, I would say it's always a function of everything, but at the end of the day, they overwhelmed us some at times. I did feel like though, the field got tilted against us a little bit in the second half. I did feel like we kind of progressed a little bit there. At the end of the first half, we moved the ball in the third quarter. So I'll have to go back and look at it. Again, I think number one for them is he was an inside linebacker. They moved after last game to outside backer, and I thought he was dominant last week. I think he's a dominant player. But there'll be a lot for us to learn from. But yeah, I mean, our fans are elite. They'll be back out here in 2 weeks when we play Michigan State. We'll have to just learn from this. Yeah, I think the fans.
Sorry about that.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot to learn. I mean, you can't really break down a game from a coach's perspective, just out of the heat of the battle. So, look, they kind of, Nebraska kind of, look, they're down 10-0 at the first quarter. You're able to get 17, points in the second quarter, one via the Hail Mary. And then here goes Michigan. I always talk about that 8 minutes, right? So or not the 12 minutes, 6 before half, 6 after. Nebraska was kind of, maybe able to mask that last 6 minutes because they answered score for score. Obviously the long run for them, I think it was Haynes.
Mm-hmm. For 75 yards. Well, and then you also had Marshall who ran for 54.
Right. But that 12 minutes is crucial. So you're able to mask that 6 minutes going in the half because you got the Hail Mary to Barney, right? Great. You get to go in 17-17. We'll take it. Then here comes Michigan right out of the gate. The third quarter, they get up 10. That's that crucial 6 minutes after halftime. And then they just held their head above water and kind of treaded water, to end the game. And, Nebraska gave up a late, or not Nebraska, Michigan gave up a late touchdown, but you're up by 2 scores. You're really trying to have Nebraska play against themselves. Don't give up a huge explosive play, and then they're able to get that last first down to ice the game.
As always, 402-464-5685, the Honda of Lincoln hotline, the Starter Heyman text line. They remain open for you guys. Jay and I will be here up until about 7:30 or so before we hand it off to DP and Austin for an additional hour and a half of post-game coverage. And that the phone lines and text lines will still be open for them. So make sure you tune in and stay tuned into the ticket all evening long for post-game coverage. I want to talk about special teams a little bit and how we felt. We know about the missed field goals. A big spot in this game felt like when also Ja'Cory fielded the punt inside the 5-yard line.
Yeah.
Matt Rule was asked about that. We're getting asked about that. Here's what Matt Rule had to say about Ja'Cory Barney fielding the punt at the 2-yard line and also Archie Wilson's performance today.
We don't want him to field that one at the 2. We also filled the one off the bounce and changed the field with the field position. Yet another one later that I thought he was about to step out of. So, he'll be the first to tell you I wish I wouldn't have caught it there, but we still had some plays there where he could have knocked it out. And then I thought Archie did an unbelievable job of spinning the field as best he could. Even the one time they got one or two first downs, they make that long field goal. So, we just have to make another play or two. I mean, honestly, it sounds boring, but step out of one, make a tackle here, and all of a sudden the game changes. And that's, you go back and forth in a Big Ten game like that. I mean, it ends up 30-27. It's, get the onside kick. You couldn't have told me we weren't going to go down and score. I mean, the way we're playing. So you just have to make one or two more plays.
Archie Wilson averaged about 50 yards per punt on his 4 punts today.
Yeah, he did a good job. I mean, for 2 weeks off, he didn't punt right last 2 weeks. I think where he's a weapon is he's able to punt with different velocity and trajectories. And then obviously he can put, some unique spin on the ball, right? You can rotate the ball. He can boom it when he wants. He can kind of hit, I call it a flying saucer one, where it really barely kind of rotates. And then it could really throw off the opposing team's punt returner, as far as being able to return the ball. And then you can obviously punt on the run and all that. So, I think he did a really good job, and Nebraska was able to cover some stuff and keep Michigan, pinned down. And that's probably why at the beginning of the game you go for it, and you don't get it, but then you feel like you can get the ball back. But as far as Nebraska goes and Barney, I mean, he said it, I don't think anywhere, unless it's at the very end of the game, emergency punt return, you return it at the 2, and those are the things that you just got to really hammer home on. Sometimes being, like I call it, steady, and then wait for your opportunity to break it open, which he almost had. He had a big return off the bounce, which is great. And there was a smart play, right? A steady, smart play. It's a calculated risk. And then he had one where he was probably, I don't even know if that was even a real tackle by 23, kind of a swipe to the thigh.
Yeah.
He's able to turn that corner. It's an explosive run or explosive return. You never know what can happen after that.
Let's go back to the Honda Lincoln hotline, 402-464-5685. We got Todd on the line. Todd, what's on your mind tonight?
I just wondering what's going on with that offensive line. I really can't keep Dylan looking downfield when there's a guy in his face and having to scramble. So from what we were told heading into the season, they were supposed to be improved, and they didn't look too improved.
All right. Well, thanks, Todd. Appreciate that. Jay, that's something you and I talked about beforehand, is unfortunately, I mean, Nebraska did go out and, let's call it what it is, spend in the transfer portal to try to beef up the offensive line, right? You go out and you bring in Rocco Spindler, and you go out and you bring in Elijah Pritchett. A lot of people get rose-colored glasses with Elijah Pritchett because of where he came from. Same with Rocco Spindler, potentially. But yeah, Nebraska struggled today against the best defensive front that they've seen so far this season.
Yeah, and I think, one, it's a byproduct of not playing against the defensive. First of all, they're last year's Michigan's defensive line had 2 first-round picks. This year, you have 2 guys on their defensive line in particular, just I'm talking about interior, that came from Clemson and Alabama. And they just were probably they were kind of in that, I call it, in the gray area of recruiting, where you're not really a young player where they feel like they have to play you, and you're not an old, wily veteran and productive veteran where, you're playing. You're in that kind of gray area. So they're talented. So you get them mixed in with some previous recruits and some under the radar transfer portal guys. So it really, it doesn't matter where somebody came from before, as far as who we get is from, like Notre Dame and Alabama. And that's a start. I think they did have some success running the ball when they kind of ran, in between the guards straight ahead. The first play of the game was pretty solid, and then they were kind of trying to get some outside stuff going on. And I think Michigan played so well on the edges, both at the second level, and then obviously, Barnum was a problem, and Moore was a problem. You have 2 dudes that are a problem. What did I say before? They condense the game. That is Wink Martindale's deal. We are going to condense the game, and we are going to play downhill in the passing game, and we're going to match up, and we're going to let our athletes run and hit.
Especially on a day where Michigan was out their best defensive back as well. He wasn't playing. A true freshman stepped in there and was matched up with Dane Key often. And Dane was quiet tonight. I mean, that's where I will not back up Matt Rule, but I will agree with one thing that Matt Rule has said in the post game about you need guys to step up and make a couple more plays. I mean, you did. We talk about, in this day and age of college football, we can talk about transfer portal and identification of talent and identifying the right guys to bring in. And on a day like today, Nebraska needed a couple of those guys that they brought in to make some plays, whether that was up front, whether that was in the receiving game as well, trying to get open. I don't know if, and maybe you can correct me if I'm wrong, if that's just a Michigan thing or if that was a little bit of both where, Michigan was playing against them well, but also Nebraska's got to be a little bit better as well.
I think it's a little bit of both. I mean, I think, look, man, you're looking over at some dudes that you play for Wink Martindale. You better be able to play man-to-man, in-your-face defense. I mean, coverage, period. And you better be able to play zone, and you better play tight zone. You better be able to play matchup zone. You better be able to bracket. You better be able to read routes. You better be able to know splits and down and distance and all that stuff. And then when you look at Michigan, which – again, even last year when they beat Ohio State, they were led by their defense. When they beat Alabama, they were led by their defense. That just does not go out of their program. They recruited and stocked that defense up there, and then they were able to get, Barnum out of the portal to go with more. And it allows you to play aggressively at the second and third levels when you're winning at the line of scrimmage, both internally and then externally as far as on the edges. And that's what you saw today. And they have some good corners. And they'll hit you. You got safeties that can cover. You got corners that can cover. You got safeties and corners, or in particular safeties that can blitz.
And Ernest Hausman in the middle.
And Ernest Hausman in the middle. Rolder, who they really like, really probably was the unsung hero. He really set up, I think, he set up Moore for a sack, and they set up Benny for a sack. They kind of ran this TE stunt with him, and it was cash money records twice, and so. When you look at their leading tacklers, right? Hausman, Sanders, DB, Hillman, DB. Sullivan's kind of a hybrid. He does a little bit of everything, right? But Rolder, linebacker. Barham, edge, linebacker, X factor. Metcalf, Hill. There you go. I mean, that's it. That's that second and third level. And everything was set up by the two big guys in the middle, essentially holding point. Kind of the old a la New England Patriots type of defense, right? Where they just build up a wall defensively against the run, and then everybody else just feasts on it. And that's why you saw a plethora of players getting in and making some plays.
How did you feel about Nebraska's defense? Let's dive a little deeper on this one here, because there was a lot of curiosities, I'll say this, about John Butler, right? Like this was, as defensive coordinator, John Butler's first big test where he had a week to prepare for him. Before it was, he had all offseason to prepare for Cincinnati. And we talked about it last post-game show last week after Houston Christian, is that just because you're not playing Michigan that week, maybe you're installing some things and looking at some things with Michigan kind of in the background. But kind of walk us through from your standpoint, Jay, how you felt about John Butler, how he called this game, how the guys obviously executed, might not have been there. But just kind of from a defensive standpoint, how you felt about the defense.
Well, I mean, obviously, look, when we got to play better. I mean, when you give up 3 huge explosive runs in the run game, that's probably where it starts and stops. I felt like in the pass game, they were fine. I mean, obviously, it was at 12 of 22 throwing the ball.
A lot of drops.
A lot of drops.
But even if they were hauled in, they weren't going to go for a first down. It was still a lot of underneath.
The only play is when Morgan underthrew McCulley. So that's okay. You got to have better awareness. But I think against the run, you just got to say, you know what, we just got beat, in the run game. I know because I've been in situations like this where, okay, I'll give you an example real quick. We played Cincinnati Bengals and we played this one. They had Corey Dillon. He had a great day yardage wise, but it really came down to 3 plays. And those 3 plays really masked what we really actually did 80% of the time against the run. So they got to really look at it as, okay, what scheme did we run in these situations? Who can run those types of schemes or those calls more effectively, and why we weren't effective? It could be as simply as we didn't really own our gap, or if they were on the move, as far as being on the move. One thing about being on the move, and this is what they do kind of defensively, when you get on the move, right? So if I'm running a slant and that's from a B gap to an A gap, you can't get washed down, because when that gets washed down, which a good offensive line generally would do, that means the hole for that running back to hit is just increased. The advantage goes to the running back, right? And then if you're the second defender over, meaning your end or edge, and you don't win, That's essentially 2 losses. So it really can come down to execution and understanding your why, first and foremost. And that's where I think they're struggling. And I said this, it's inexperienced players and they're inexperienced playing with each other. Before you start looking at scheme, they have to gel, and the gel is going to be understanding why. You got to know the why, what all 11 players know and have to do. And that's what Michigan does. Every single one of those players, I guarantee you, those guys in the back end, they know exactly what that front end dude is doing. And so then that's where you'll really gain some ground when you really use this bye week and understanding the basics, and then the basics will lead to big plays.
Are we seeing the importance, and now maybe the better phrase is gaping hole? Are we seeing the importance that the 2 guys up front last year played in this defense with Ty and Nash? Or is it more than that? Is it more complicated?
Well, first of all, they played 5 years together.
Yeah.
Both of them grown men. So they were able to erase a lot of, they were erasing a lot of things that defense or offenses were able to do. Then it's the consistency that they played together with, right? Let's not forget Jamari Butler's gone. James Williams is gone.
Yeah.
MJ Sherman's gone. That's a lot of Princewell. But those main 3 or 4 guys I just mentioned are all veteran guys that are gone. And then also you lost some guys in the second level. So I think it's, sure, you're going to miss Ty and Nash anytime. Doesn't matter. Even if the defense had played, say 2 or 3 steps better, you still miss them. I mean, Ty was dominant last year to the point he got drafted pretty high. And so was Nash in his role. I think the importance is, they just got to continue to push themselves to get better at their business instead of the answer is not the roster. It's what the roster does. If that makes sense. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does. It does. We have about probably about 8 more minutes with Jay and myself on this portion of the post game show. Make sure you stay tuned at 7:30. We'll kick off another hour and a half with DP and Austin Orman as well as the after party post game show continues. All right, Jay, a text here, and I know we're flip flopping sides, but I want to make sure we get to as many of these texts and questions for you as we can. Nick and McCook chimes in and says, which one needs to improve the most? Dylan scrambling in the pocket, Dylan throwing the ball away sooner, or offensive line blocking better?
I guess you could just say the latter.
I would say I think the offensive line blocking better would benefit the most.
Every week? You just got to execute. I think it's more or less just so. I guarantee you, I can't guarantee you, but I would be very willing to bet $1 that a lot of the mishaps were self-inflicted. I mean, sure, you're going to get beat. I mean, you play against.
No, I was saying that, like, the reason I had that reaction because I was like, man, you would have hoped going into this that it wouldn't have been that way.
Yeah, but I mean, look, so if you just say, okay, you're going to take 10 plays. Okay, so you got to expect when you play in a game like this, okay, Michigan is going to win 3. We're going to win 3. So that's 6 of those plays. It come down to 4 plays in between. We got to win more of those kind of 50-50 plays or not have what I call direct access to our running back or our quarterback.
Is it possible to win games, or excuse me, is it possible to lose games without self-inflicted wounds? Like, was there an avenue here? And this isn't me trying to play the moral victory route because Nebraska, they lost the game, right? Like now's the time. But the reason I'm bringing this up, like to switch sports, baseball is the perfect example to where you can be competitive in the zone. You can do your job individually, collectively. You can limit errors and have no errors, but you can lose a ball game 2-1 and just say tip your cap.
Yeah.
Is that possible in football?
It's sometimes, and I think you can. Then I've been in those games where, like I said, against Cincinnati, we shut them down instead of 3 or 4 plays. I would play against Kansas City where we're winning the game, give up a defensive touchdown and a punt return. Defense, take it on the chin. So I think for this team, I mean, all thoughts aside, you have to literally look at yourself, work on the things that you need to get better at, and then everybody has to pull the same way. And the answer can no longer be wholesale changes. Or sure, some guys maybe lost some playing time. That's fine. But you can't say, okay, well, season's over. We got to go and get a new roster.
Change this coordinator, change this coach.
You got to execute it. Because listen, John Butler or Dana, you're not calling plays and say, okay, here we go. Don't tackle anybody on one. You know what I'm saying? Like this is covered. Don't so we got to execute better and we got to work on the things we need that we can control. Can we play with probably better pad level?
Yeah.
You dang right we can. Can we, be crisper in our route running? Sure. Can we, really understand why we have to condense the formation where we have to do our job, right? That means if I have to set the edge, whether it's the outside edge or the one in, that I call it the direct edge, that's where the play initially starts. Do I set the edge and then I go play football? Like if a lineman is pulling up on me, like meaning that he has a clear shot on me, my game plan is totally different is if he's running a power and I just got to fit up in there and his body it tackles the running back. It's the same play, but you play it totally two different ways, right? And so you have to know that and you have to prepare for that. And that has nothing to do with the scheme because sometimes you go against some linemen and they block and a guy gets blocked. There's sometimes that Jay Foreman gets his ankles broke. That doesn't mean that you say, okay, well, I'm the safety. I'm not coming out of my deep half and here goes whoever. So everybody just got to play better.
We're in it now. We're experiencing it to something that you and I discussed in the pregame segment over at the Kindler before Nebraska faced off against Michigan earlier today. All the way back at 11:30 a.m. We talked about it. Like Nebraska's going to go into the bye week feeling one of two ways, right? They're going to be on this emotional high of Nebraska still 4-0. They're undefeated. They had a ranked win. Or they're going to lose their 28th consecutive game against a ranked opponent, and they got to chew on it for a couple of weeks. I mean, kind of as we have about 3 minutes left, walk us through if you're in that locker room as one of the leaders.
Yeah.
How do you help your guys kind of chew and digest this when you have to sit on it now for 2 weeks? Because there's a lot of them, and I know you're kind of on this just because I know you, where you'd want to get out and play next Saturday.
You would. I want to get right back to work and practice or whatever, but you got to do the same things. It's different if you like I say, the ugly wins versus the ugly loss. I don't really necessarily view it as that, but any loss I feel is ugly in a learning experience. So you got to get right back to work. You got to hold yourself accountable. I got to hold myself accountable before I do anything else. And then we as a defense and offense, special teams, got to hold each other accountable. And you got to move forward. The rest of the season is to be played. Like if you like
a third of the season is done.
Right. If you hang your hat on this, and I get it, it sucks for 2 weeks, but you better, this is the perfect time to maybe address some things and get right back to hard work.
Can't thank our friends Vinny Krekak of State Farm Insurance, Baumgars, and Anderson Ford of Lincoln for presenting the Jay Foreman Postgame Show. Nebraska falls 30-27. They're now 3-1 overall, 0-1 in the Big Ten Conference. Bye week next week. Michigan State comes to town on October 4th. Jay, we got 15 seconds left, my friend. Close us out.
All right, man. It's how you handle success has got to be the same way how you handle adversity. So how it's all done, lead to the season. Jay Foreman, Postgame Show. Appreciate you guys listening. All the activity on the DP in Austin. We'll holler at you.
Hi, I'm Casey Oddie, and I'm the Retail Banking Manager at your local Midwest Bank branch on 70th and Pioneers Boulevard. Banking may be my job, but supporting the community is what I care most about. Whether I'm showing up at local events, partnering with schools, or helping people reach financial milestones, I am proud to be a part of what makes Lincoln strong. Let's build something together. Stop by and say hi. Your community, your bank, Midwest Bank. Member FDIC.
Join LES at 6 p.m. Thursday, October 9th at the LES Operations Center to learn about the utilities' proposed 2026 budget and electric rates and share your input at the annual public meeting. Learn more at les.com.
Oh, Kansas. Here we go. You just don't stop giving, do you? Green flag, we're underway. The closest finish in NASCAR Cup Series history. Close to downtown, amazing campgrounds, 3 NASCAR races in one weekend, and it's the playoffs. You guys can't drive. Now you're just showing off. But we're not mad. In fact, we're looking forward to it. NASCAR Playoffs Weekend at Kansas Speedway, September 26th through the 28th. Get your tickets now at kansasspeedway.com.
Are you ready for a new opportunity? Check out Sandhills Global. Join a dynamic team where your skills are valued and your career can soar. We offer full-time positions with a 4.5-day work week, competitive pay, excellent benefits, and a positive work environment. From IT and marketing to sales and finance, we're looking for talented individuals just like you. Apply today at sandhills.jobs and take the first step towards an exciting future. That's sandhills.jobs. Don't wait, apply now.
I can't believe I just scratched that car. Find my insurance card.
Dude, what do you have in this glove box? Ew, are these socks dirty?
Oh, forget about the socks. I need my insurance card.
Just pull it up on the State Farm mobile app.
But I can do that? Oh, hey, I can do that.
Yep, it's called service.
I can file a claim on here too?
Yeah, it's called service.
Whoa, I can call my agent too?
It's called service.
Call your local State Farm agent, Vinny Krikak, today at 402-474-1173.
Sometimes it's hard to know if substance use is becoming a problem, especially when it becomes part of daily life or social routines. Take the free assessment, Is Your Substance Use Harmful?, at myhealthymind.crediblemmind.com so you can understand your risk. You can take the assessment anonymously. In just minutes, you'll get practical, non-judgmental guidance and resources to support your health and well-being. This message is funded in part by the CDC OD2A grant.
Sometimes good people make mistakes. When you find yourself in need of an attorney, call Liberty Law Group. The attorneys at Liberty Law Group will defend you in court and protect your freedom to get you the best possible outcome and the justice you deserve. Trust your freedom to Liberty Law Group, the best criminal attorneys in Nebraska and Iowa. Call them today at 877-404-5238. That's 877-404-5238. Or check them out online at libertylawgroup.com.
When you were a kid, clubs were cool. Robotics club and space club and stuff like that. But what do adults get? Book clubs and quilting clubs? Nah, forget that. How about margarita clubs and old-fashioned clubs? Get to Upside Bar and Lounge for the best clubs in town. Try all 10 varieties of Upside margaritas or old fashions and take home a free souvenir glass. Grab the whole crew and pair it with taco night on Mondays or whiskey Wednesdays. Upside Bar and Lounge at 29th and Pine Lake.
Load up on meat and more this spring at The Mercado by Certified Piedmontese, with great selections of T-bones, tomahawks, ribeyes, filet mignon, brisket, sirloin, and so much more. The Mercado has locations at 84th and Havelock, 30th and Yankee Hill, and now 85th and Old Cheney in Lincoln, where you can have $2 draft beer every Thursday night from 4 to 8 p.m. and half-price espresso drinks on Fridays from 8 a.m. to 2 p.m. Get to The Mercado today for the best meat in town. Hungry for something real? Come to HF Crave, Lincoln's favorite spot for burgers that are anything but basic. Locally sourced Nebraska beef, hand-cut fries, and bold flavors that'll make your taste buds cheer. Whether you're craving the classics or ready to try something wild, they've got the burger that gets you. HF Crave. Fresh, local, craveable. Find them at 48th and Holdridge or order online at hfcrave.com.
Hey guys, it's Adam Carricker here. As a former Husker and NFL player, I'm a health nut. Hydration and recovery starts at home. That's why I teamed up with Culligan of Lincoln. Soft water means better showers, cleaner dishes, and it protects my water heater and appliances. Their high-efficiency softener cuts salt and water usage. For drinking, I added a Culligan reverse osmosis. Bottled quality water right at my tap. Great taste, and it's certified to reduce tough contaminants like lead and PFAs. Right now, get up to $300 off a whole home system or just $9.95 per month for your first 3 months. Schedule your free water test at CulliganHuskers.com. That's CulliganHuskers.com. Culligan of Lincoln. Water you love. Go Big Red.
Limited time offer. Participating dealers. Restrictions may apply.
Hey there, this is Paul Scheel, owner of High Electric. I want to thank our friends and loyal customers and introduce High Electric to those looking for a new electrician. We've been serving the Lincoln and Omaha area for over 30 years, from design to install, upgrades, and repair. If you are a homeowner or a small business needing some electrical work, call us at 402-466-6606 or check us out at hyelectric.com. We look forward to hearing from you.
It's the best time of the year to order a new John Deere self-propelled windrower from Landmark Implement during the early order program. Hay harvest is a race against time. Order a new John Deere self-propelled windrower to harvest your hay quickly and efficiently while promoting quick dry down for quality hay. Now is the time to lock in the best price of the year. Contact your local Landmark location for full details on a new self-propelled windrower and experience the Landmark difference.
Welcome to the Husker After Party postgame show.
Two tight ends in the game as well. Raiola with time. There's Nelson. He's got it, and he's into the end zone for the first time in his career. Touchdown, Nebraska.
The Husker After Party postgame show is brought to you by Anderson Ford, Baumgars, and Vinny Kreekak of State Farm Insurance.
Ramir Johnson in the game at running back. This is a flip to Ja'Cory Barney. He waits for his block, and he steps in for the touchdown. Second down, done, intercepted. Malcolm Hartzog is second of the year.
On 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Welcome to it. Husker After Party Post-Game Show, 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com. Austin Norman, Derek Pearson with you. Be a part of the show still, 402-464-5685. Don't text and drive, but we would still love to hear from you. Plenty yet to get to. Breaking down Nebraska's first loss of the year. Huskers drop to 3-1. Michigan improves to 3-1 on the season. DP, the mission was to have these two teams not walk out of here with the same record, but that is indeed the result. A depressing after party. We've thrown 3 happy ones so far, but we're here with people nonetheless. First and foremost, your reaction to Nebraska's loss, just big picture, falling 30-27 to Michigan.
Sitting through it, a big part of my initial reaction was the Matt Rule version of disappointed in a winnable situation in a big moment, right? And there's disappointment that happens that you prepare for a big moment, and then something happens that gets in the way of that big moment coming to fruition. The other side is that I want to be fair in that it is the first loss. I want to be fair in taking the temperature of the room instead of setting the temperature of the room. And by that I mean I'm far more interested in the fans and how they feel and what they saw, because I get consumed sometimes in the technique, the skill, the thinking, the scheme. And no, it's a game of players making plays. And so you can look at the technique and go, okay, if I'm grading this performance, that's one thing. If I'm evaluating the plays made or not made, that's another. I'm way interested in what Husker fans are thinking about this thing, because all things that they feel are true, that if you're okay with it being, you played the best team you're going to play and you were 3 points away from a different conversation, or you're still three points away from the best team you play. And that's happened enough in recent history that it should sting a little bit. So I'm here to sit on the fence and watch both sides and see how it plays out.
Let's head to our Honda of Lincoln hotline. I believe we have a call. Oh, no, we do not. Caller dropped on us. Still, though, 402-464-5685. Well, I get to Soresco Joe here. He says, you could feel the entire stadium as a collective bunch say to themselves, here we go again. Got manhandled in the trenches. That's going to be the big story for a lot of people. DP, we heard Nick and Jay talk a lot about it. Mm-hmm. Nebraska's skill guys looked like they measured up for the most part. Nebraska's trenches didn't step up when the team needed them to.
Okay. So in the postgame, Dylan Raiola said, listen, the easy layup, the low-hanging fruit is to pick on the offensive line for protection. But he said, no, put it on me. Put it on me, because some of it is reading. Some of it is audibling out of what they've called to get to something that fits the situation. And then part of it's just executing what's in play. Mm-hmm. Dylan's one player. He can't do everything. But yeah, you watch the bigs. I mean, I said in a pregame kind of snippet that this was going to be big boy football. And I think for the sake of today's game, it's exactly played out exactly as most of us saw it. Mm-hmm. Was Michigan is a bigger fish currently. And it's okay to say that. It's also okay to say, I saw some things in Nebraska that give me hope. It wasn't good enough.
Mm-hmm.
But you don't throw the baby out with the bathwater. Are those fixable things? How many of the teams that are on Nebraska's schedule have Michigan's talent and Michigan's ability to do what Michigan did? I don't know how many Big Ten teams. Do we expect it from Northwestern? Do we expect that? I don't think we do. I don't think we expect it we don't know, quite frankly. This is the brand new Husker team. We hadn't seen this Husker team before today. We didn't know how they were going to play against big boy, smash mouth, big play football. Like, this is big play football. And I'm not sure that this is even Big Ten big play football. Those big runs, I don't know that you fully expect that in the space, right? I don't know if what we expect, right? Like, I don't know what we expected. I wanted them to compete. I wanted them to make good decisions.
Did they?
They competed. They absolutely competed. Now, sometimes they're just better than you.
Is that what it was today? Michigan was just a little better?
Michigan's just a little better than Nebraska. Today, even. Like, I think you can predicate it whatever way you want, but the reality is Michigan was better than Nebraska again today. Now, Nebraska was closer to being better than Michigan today than they've been in the last 5 outings. They looked competitive. They looked like they were competing. There's some fight in the game. But there were 6 or 7 plays. Okay, let's say 12 plays. There are 12 plays. So
six for each unit, maybe.
We'll say 7 sacks, which lead to pressures, right? Which leads to you making one extra throw that you shouldn't make, that throws the timing off of a route, maybe a missed block on a key run play, right? 12 plays. And then you can say on either side of the ball, because I would imagine that of all the offensive plays, you're going to grade out. Michigan was better. Look, tell me who the best player on the field was today. Tell me who the 2 best players on the field were. Matter of fact, tell me who the 4 best players on the field were. And it's 2 offensive linemen. Actually, 6. 2 offensive linemen, 2 defensive linemen, a linebacker, and a running back. And we're not even including the quarterback. We're not even. He's just a really good playmaker. Running back number 2, top 10 player on the field today, right? Like he
was fresh. Nebraska tried to tackle him high, didn't work for 8 yards. He felt good about himself, and then he busted again.
They looked like the 2 best running backs on the field. Houseman looked like the best linebacker on the field. Made the plays when required. And then the two big offensive linemen are just impressive, man. Like, they lean on people, and that's a difference. Look, if we said the NFL could draft just from today's game, those are the first 6 players taken. And I think that it's okay to say that, and then go, yeah, they were still competitive.
Well, and if that's the takeaway, and Nebraska's still at this point in year 3 under Matt Rule, then I think Husker fans have to reconfigure how they approach this team. Where Nebraska is improved, but think about the conversation. Oh, it's not the same Michigan. Oh, the players aren't the same. What we're seeing, though, and what I tried to tell people all week on Old School and on Pregame was they still have that championship mentality, that championship earned arrogance about them in a lot of ways, where these are backups that were waiting their turn to play. Just because you don't know the names going into the game doesn't mean they're not good players. It could have and should have been potentially an advantage for Nebraska's defensive line that Michigan was down 2 offensive line starters. But guess what? They got waves of dudes. They don't just have 5. They got 6, 7, 8 waves of dudes. Against, still, I think, for Nebraska, a unit that's trying to find its feet in the defensive line. Being down 2 starters just got it closer to evening the playing field, but as we saw, still didn't make it an even playing field.
No, listen. I I wasn't a member of the club saying that this is a lesser Michigan team. I don't know what that means.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what that means. That's a team that went on the road and lost to Oklahoma. But if that's the measuring stick for good or bad teams in the course of the NCAA season, oh my goodness.
Speaking of Oklahoma, DP, you thought Nebraska giving up 7 sacks was bad. Oklahoma took down Jackson Arnold 10 times, 10 sacks for the Sooners in an SEC conference game. Yeah, Nebraska's offensive line wasn't great. There were some things that were out of sync, potentially some misreads, whatever you want to say. Wasn't the worst offensive line performance across the country today, including an all but game-sealing safety late in the game.
I mean, to go into it that they had 3 players who averaged over 6 yards a carry, almost 8 yards a carry, coming into the game. And you can say, well, those are big plays. Well, that's how rushing average. That's how rushing averages are. How you come to them. It's what you average, and per touch. If you're above 4.8, you're a dude. Like, you're getting it done, and they're way above that.
Yeah, when you average 4.5 yards per carry, it's not that you get 4.5 yards every carry.
No,
it's that for every time you get stuff for 2 or 3, you break a long one for 50 or 60.
And on those big plays, that's why they're called explosive plays. And that's why those people are called playmakers that Matt Rule has talked about since he got here. Finding offensive players who turn those 4s and 5s into 40s and 50s. Well, Michigan has them. Look, you can shut them down. I've told the story. I played, I coached against Des Moines, and for 38 plays, we held him to average 2 yards a carry. But those other 5 times, he averaged 50, right? And those things end up on the scoreboard. And you have to continually say to people, this is a scoreboard game. This is good. You can get caught up in the stats and all those other things. But you know what? In Big Ten football, especially in top 25 Big Ten football or top 30, you need to put points on the board, right? You can play for stats if you want to. That's selfish. The team game is that scoreboard. And if we said before the game, you know what? Nebraska's going to score 27 points. We'd be satisfied. We'd be satisfied. But if we also said Michigan scores 30, not knowing how many Nebraska scored, we would say, we're probably in trouble. We're probably in trouble, right? So the numbers mean what they mean.
Let's stick on that theme. Michigan runs for 286 yards on the day. Total number of carries for the Wolverines, 33. Good for 8.7 yards per pop. The internal stat broadcast that Nebraska and many other schools use credits Michigan with 7 big rushes of 10 or more yards. On those 7 rushes, Michigan gains 221 of their 286 yards. And they're at different times in the game, right? You think at the end of the first quarter, Michigan gets the turnover, the interception. What do? Put the ball in the hands of their freshman quarterback. Nebraska's safeties both split out wide. Underwood keeps it on the draw, untouched all the way. Okay, he's a good athlete. You missed one, so be it. Then Nebraska, it seems like it has momentum back on its side. It scores the touchdown to tie the game. Immediately, one play. Michigan runs the let's see what you got kind of handoff. Well, Nebraska didn't have it. So there's a momentum-changing play that Nebraska would eventually answer. Then, middle of the third quarter, neither team has done much on offense. Boom. Michigan hits you for an explosive, and then you get to the end of the game. 1st and 10, Michigan has the ball about 12 and a half minutes to go, gain of 13 yards. Then Nebraska has Michigan 3rd and 10. Edge of field goal range. We knew that their guy was good from that range. He kicked one earlier in the game. So he got 3rd and long. If you can get a negative play, maybe you force a punt. Yeah, you put your offense in a tough position, but at least you kept points off the board. On 3rd and 10, Justice Haynes goes for 19. And then 2nd and 11, Bryce Underwood goes for 12. Not long after that, some key plays that sustain those drives. It's not just that the explosive plays happen. It's when they happen, and it's how they happen.
You can't win high-level Big Ten or SEC football games by giving up 10 explosive plays. It just doesn't work. And Michigan will say, we gave up 4, and that's 4 too many. That's those 4 put points on the board and made this game competitive when they thought they were the better team from the outskirts, right? They weren't bottled up and bothered by Nebraska's nickel and dime. They were, you know what? Just don't. Oh, you give up a Hail Mary. Oh, you give up a down the middle, a skinny post that goes to the house. But how many other explosive plays did you give up? And that's the difference.
Nebraska ends up at 9 explosive plays, 2 on the ground, 1 for 14, the very first play of the game for them, and then 1 for 11, 7 explosive passes through the air. Flipping that around to the Michigan side, 4 explosive passes and 7 explosive rushes. So you're only -2 in that department.
But those are the 2.
But it's the 3 big ones that go for touchdowns that kill you. And the fact that you weren't able to do it on the ground, maybe when you would have liked to early in the game.
Well, the numbers can mean, so imagine that if you go up and down the stat sheet, there are numbers that jump out at you and you say, okay, points off turnover. Michigan had 7 points off turnover. Nebraska had 3. Well, gee whiz. It's the same turnover. It's the same turnover. And you didn't even count the negative points, the points you didn't get when you get a break and you don't capitalize.
And we'll certainly get to that throughout the course of the show.
But in a 4-point game, the difference in points off turnover is it. It's 3. It was a 3-point game. The difference in points off turnover, they took theirs to the house. Nebraska got a field goal. Listen, the numbers mean whatever you want them to mean. But in having the discussion, it's Nebraska had 55% positive plays. That if you kept Michigan to on 20 carries, you kept them under 3 yards a carry. As you grade out, you're going to go, you know what? The scheme worked, the effectiveness worked, all those things in play. But then you have to say, oh, look at them. They know the deal. They know the deal. We know the deal. Yeah. Hold on. We got y'all. Well, we're gonna put y'all. Yeah, you're gonna. Yeah, he's gonna figure that out. That he probably shouldn't have. Yeah, hey, probably don't want to. Mom, Dad, there's your tuition money. There's your tuition money. That you probably, as they grade out. Now again, Michigan has its own issues. Michigan will grade out in some things that, oh my goodness, we got to get better. We have to get better. Nebraska has things that they need to improve on. You now are more coachable than you were. There seems to be a pretty good mentality to, yes, we have to do better. Ja'Cory Barney got up and said, yeah, I was proud of the Hail Mary, but I can't make the decision inside the 5. I can't make that decision. And that tells me 2 things. 1, it had been coached. 2, he knew better and just didn't do better. And 3, he's going to have to coach himself through and talk through those moments that, you know what? I coached this. That's not a decision. That's not a bad decision. There's no decision for you to make. Put your heels on the 10, and if you have to move your feet backwards,
get out of there.
Run to the sideline. Simply run to the sideline. Once it goes over your head or you take a step back, you're out of business. The store is closed. It's not a decision. And you take that away from them. You take that away from, you know what? You don't have a decision to make. The same thing for Dylan. If pressure comes and you see, look, we motion to numbers. We're +1 in this space and they bring pressure.
You got to go there.
You have to go there. It's not a decision. I don't need for you to outthink it, and I don't need to think yourself into a bad situation. What's the rule?
What's the simple thing?
Follow the rule. And that's how things happen. That, listen, if you're compressing as a safety and you're coming downhill and you expect the linebacker to be, you know what, he's gap fill, he's got run fit. I need to be the finisher, and then he doesn't do his job, then you can't double dumb and not do your job. Run through.
Plenty to get to of your reaction here. We'll take this one all the way up to the 8 o'clock hour and keep rolling all the way till 9. Let's go to Jay Jackson first on Facebook. Long season, defensive line and offensive line not good at all. Give me 4 guaranteed wins left on the schedule. That is the wrong conversation to have right now. That's not the conversation we're going to do.
You're not doing one. This team is brand new. They grew today. I hate to tell you something, right? For folks that want to be gloom and doom, right?
There's our boy Farley.
There's a Hall of Famer. What I would here's the part, right? that Nebraska got better today. The team got better and the program got better. There are people that don't want it. The process is, when people say trust the process, the mission was never to just go, you know what, we're going to do everything perfectly from day one. That's not realistic. That's fanaticism. That's a whole different conversation. Did they get better? Listen, Dylan Raiola showed a level of toughness. Does he have it perfectly right? No. But that's not the expectation you could have for a sophomore quarterback in his, 16th start? Career start? 17th start? Okay. Emmett ran hard. Were there plays that were missed? Absolutely. Then the mission is to get it right in 2 weeks from today, to get better at it, right? Do you expect Corey to have a perfect return game? No. Okay. Is he better now? Is he smarter now than he was at 11 o'clock this morning?
You better hope so.
You better hope so. So they got better. They just weren't good enough to finish the job today.
That's entirely true. And so, you know what? This is where Dylan Raiola said the bye week sucks right now, but they got to utilize it. And I'm sure we'll talk about that more and more throughout the week. Carl Sykes says outmanned, not outcoached. Nebraska was reading paper clippings. I thought, again, this is not trying to be a moral victory guy out here by any sense of the imagination. It wasn't an effort thing. It was an execution thing. Michigan was a little bit better in a few key moments. And that's the game. And DP, that's what I said going into this one all week, is that, no, it's not a moral victory for Nebraska to lose close. Yes, fans are tired of it, as they should be. Nebraska needs to find a way to get better and win these games, because it was Nebraska's best opportunity at a top 25 win in a long time. That can all be true. But the season's not over. By any sense of the imagination, Nebraska has to get better. And this is this was still a high-level football game. It was high level, pretty much across the board. Michigan had its advantages. Nebraska found some stuff that worked. At the end of the day, Michigan's a little bit better. The example I haven't pulled out yet on air that I think I want to go back to is actually the Nebraska versus Michigan State basketball game in the tournament year. High-level basketball game. Ends up 77-70 Nebraska. I don't think either team led by more than 8 points in that game. It was back and forth. Michigan State found a lineup that worked offensively. Nebraska just hit a couple more shots and some free throws down the stretch to win it. These are the types of games that Nebraska needs to be in to get back to where it wants to be as a program, is high-level football games in front of a national audience where you're not embarrassing yourself. And now the next time that this opportunity comes, Nebraska has to be better in these moments, but it was still a better performance in a game like this than we've seen in a long time. And nitpicking will continue.
Well, I mean, listen. Do we think Michigan is better than Michigan State?
I believe so.
Fair, right? Fair. Do we think that Michigan is better than Maryland?
Terps are looking decent, but I'd probably take Michigan.
Do we think Michigan is better than Minnesota?
Probably a little bit.
Right? Do we think Michigan is better than Northwestern?
Tend to.
UCLA?
Yep.
Iowa?
Probably.
Okay. So as you're having these conversations, and do you think Nebraska will be better in 2 weeks than they were today?
Sure need to be.
Right? Well, I mean, that's the whole, listen, if
you're
talking about talented players with coaches who care that they're going to spend the next 2 weeks getting better than they were last week, then yeah, feel how you want to feel. But I'm consistent that when Nebraska beat Cincinnati by a smaller margin than people were happy with, no, the mission was accomplished.
Was to win.
And you can say that, yes, they won. Be thrilled by the fact they won. They had things to work on. The same is true today. That, listen, the
same
result,
margin, by the way.
The result, while not ideal, doesn't mean that you throw everything out with it.
Right.
No, you take the lessons. That's coaching and football. That, you know what? There were things that didn't go right that we can fix. There are things that, quite frankly, I don't know that you could fix a lot of things that were broke today. Missed gap assignment. Okay, you can fix that, but quite frankly, that running back would have beat most people at the safety position anyway. Like, that's just how it works. You think Michigan didn't scheme? Okay, Hail Mary, knock it to the ground. It's the one thing you say you can't let happen.
And the shortest guy in the field went and got it.
It went and got it. So football is just that way, that humans are making plays or not making plays. Ultimately, the team that makes the most plays, and then in this particular case today, the team that made the most explosive plays, they made 2 more plays in critical moments. One, and actually, there's more than that. We can say the goal line stop on 3rd and short was as big a play as 4th and short.
Or even Raiola over Barney's head by a foot on second down.
But remember that they had a double pass that was biffed, and then the next corner fade route was biffed, right? The Hail Mary biffed.
Goes both ways.
Right? Ja'Cory Barney on the hash screwed it up. There's several times, but the 56-yard field goal, what do you do? What do you do?
You tip your cap.
You tip your cap. You really?
And then you got to hit your 44-yarder.
Right. And and that'll be a part of the conversation forward is did you do what you do along the way? You do what you do along the way. And you try to explain to people that if you played the game or coached the game, you're not going to bash everybody, right? You're not going to bash everybody. You're not going to bash everything. You're going to take notes. You're going to look at film, right? And they say, there's some coaches that'll say, you know what? Last week's film can't help you win this week. All fair and true. Doesn't mean you don't try to get better.
Absolutely. That's a good spot to go to our first break. Bruce Davis, have something interesting from you on YouTube that we'll get to, and plenty more on our Sartor Heyman Jewelers text line. All that and more ahead on the Husker After Party postgame show. Hungry for something real? Come to HF Crave, Lincoln's favorite spot for burgers that are anything but basic. Locally sourced Nebraska beef, hand-cut fries, and bold flavors that'll make your taste buds cheer. Whether you're craving the classics or ready to try something wild, they've got the burger that gets you. HF Crave. Fresh, local, craveable. Find them at 48th and Holdridge or order online at hfcrave.com.
Experience an electric vehicle firsthand at LES's EV Ride and Drive, September 28th at the LES Operations Center. Registration is open now, but spots are limited. Visit les.com/drive to reserve your drive.
Are you ready for a new opportunity? Check out Sandhills Global. Join a dynamic team where your skills are valued and your career can soar. We offer full-time positions with a 4.5-day work week, competitive pay, excellent benefits, and a positive work environment. From IT and marketing to sales and finance, we're looking for talented individuals just like you. Apply today at sandhills.jobs and take the first step towards an exciting future. That's sandhills.jobs. Don't wait, apply now.
Rick Heyman here from Sartor Heyman Jewelers. I want to personally thank our great customers for voting us once again the best of Lincoln. At the same time, we're celebrating our 120th year in business in the great state of Nebraska. Visit us at South Point, Grand Island, and the Outlet in downtown Lincoln. Visit us today at sartorheyman.com.
Sartor Heyman Jewelers.
I can't believe I just scratched that car. Find my insurance card.
Dude, what do you have in this glove box? Ew, are these socks dirty?
Oh, forget about the socks. I need my insurance card.
Just pull it up on the State Farm mobile app.
But I can do that? Oh, hey, I can do that.
Yep, it's called service.
I can file a claim on here too?
Yeah, it's called service.
Whoa, I can call my agent too?
It's called service.
Call your local State Farm agent, Vinny Krikak, today at 402-474-1173.
At Jimmy John's, we don't make sandwiches. We make the sandwich of sandwiches. We use fresh veggies because we don't hate salads. We just feel bad for them. We make our sandwiches exactly how you want because you're the one who's eating it. And we bake bread all day, every day because stale bread isn't bread. It's croutons. Sandwich history is written by the victors. Good thing we have legible handwriting. Jimmy John's, the sandwich of sandwiches. Order pickup or delivery on the app.
This is Lincoln's home for sports talk on the FM dial. Also online at theticketfm.com. On the internet. KNTK FM Firth, 93.7 The Ticket.
Sometimes good people make mistakes. When you find yourself in need of an attorney, call Liberty Law Group. The attorneys at Liberty Law Group will defend you in court and protect your freedom to get you the best possible outcome and the justice you deserve. Trust your freedom to Liberty Law Group, the best criminal attorneys in Nebraska and Iowa. Call them today at 877-404-5238. That's 877-404-5238. Or check them out online at libertylawgroup.com.
Hi, this is Tom Osborne. Join me on September 23rd and dine at your favorite local Renza in support of Teammates Mentoring. 10% of Renza sales on September 23rd will benefit your local Teammates Mentoring chapter. Teammates Mentoring helps students reach their full potential by providing a caring adult mentor to meet with them once a week in school. Thank you for your support of Teammates Mentoring. We will see you at Runza on September 23rd.
Stonebrook Exterior is your trusted partner in exterior solutions for both residential and commercial projects across Lincoln and Omaha. With over 2 decades of expertise, they deliver everything your building needs, all under one roof. From roofing and siding to gutters, wall systems, custom masonry, and metalwork, Stonebrook handles it all with precision, safety, and professionalism. Take the worry out of your exterior projects. Choose Stonebrook Exterior, where quality, safety, and service come together seamlessly. Visit StonebrookExterior.com or call 402-438-5559 to get your free quote today.
Things that impair you come in many different shapes and sizes. Some are the shape of beer and liquor bottles. Others look like cigarettes but aren't cigarettes at all. These are the things we know impair us, the things our parents warned us about. What we're not always aware of is our new prescription or the over-the-counter medicine we picked up just for allergies or a bad cold. See, it doesn't just matter how much of a substance you take. If you are impaired, driving is deceptively dangerous. Don't drive impaired. Paid for by the NDOT Highway Safety Office.
An overdose can happen in front of you and you might not realize it. Blue lips, slowed breathing, pinpoint pupils, choking sounds, unresponsive to touch or sounds. These signs aren't always obvious, but they can be deadly. Knowing what to do could save your friend, your neighbor, your child. Learn more by visiting myhealthymind.crediblemmind.com so you can be ready before it happens. This message is funded in part by the CDC OD2A grant.
Welcome back to the Husker After Party Postgame Show. The Husker After Party Postgame Show is brought to you by Anderson Ford, Baumgars, and Vinny Krekak of State Farm Insurance on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
It's an after party. Still, technically.
Catchy tune. I'll give it the American Bandstand. It's got a nice beat and it's easy to dance to.
That it is. Hard to dance after Nebraska loses, but these things happen. DP, let's just get right back into it here.
Yes, sir.
Bruce Davis on YouTube.
Yes.
How did Nebraska get better today? It was bad mistake after bad mistake over and over again. So first of all, I think the question is, what are we comparing Nebraska to say that Nebraska did indeed get better today than it was going into the game?
Okay, so there are quite a few things that if you want to talk about Nebraska's ability to make big plays, explosive plays, and plays that were on schedule and planned, right? To actually take a shot at the end of the half and have it work, right? As Jacory said, we practice that every day. So yeah, we practice it against air, but at least we were prepared to take the shot and put points on the board. The first drive was an example of where I want to be clear to say this. I want to give as much credit to the players as humanly possible because they were better than they had been. They battled, they competed, they didn't quit, they didn't just kind of half mail it in.
Well, and some people might hear that as damning with faint praise, but think about the games of this caliber that Nebraska's played in. When's the last time they put up 27 points?
Well, to put up 27 points against Michigan in a game that mattered. Like, listen, they could have laid down at 27-17 or, any moment where they had they were down 10. They were down 10 early in the game, got it going, right? You figured out a way to put points on the board. Your first drive was impressive. Second drive was impressive. You just get it done, right? So there are things in place. And, to the kicker, Kunanen, I get it, right? You're human. You're going to miss kicks. Okay, fine. But if this was this performance was against Northwestern, I would have a different feeling about it, other than the fact that it was number 21 or 22 Michigan. And it's still Michigan.
Yeah.
It's still Michigan. But what Nebraska did, to watch Rocco Spindler and Luke Lindenmeyer take shots at the Michigan bigs. I mean, full on nose to nose, take shots and go throw hands. To watch Shavers Jr., to watch
Felt
Marshall.
like a huge tackle in that one-on-one. He got Haynes for a loss. Felt like a momentum play for Nebraska.
Right, and you got some and you got some. Right, to watch.
That's the nature of big games like this.
Well, but this is the thing. Again, there's no perfection. Nobody's playing the perfect Big Ten football game. In this day and age, it doesn't happen. That's a fan expectation. No. As for the players, did you know your assignment? Were you prepared? Did you get into the right position? Even if you didn't get the player to the ground, were your eyes in the right place? Now, it wasn't perfect. I'm not grading anybody at 100. But to say that in looking at them, and I'll go a little deeper in film, tonight at 4:00 in the morning, but Dylan made of his
41 attempts.
41 attempts and 48 dropbacks, 50 dropbacks. How many of those did he have them in the right read, and did his eyes go to the right place? Well, of those 50, most of the 7 sacks, his eyes didn't get to the right place on time.
Yeah.
He could have got there late, but at that point, you're patting the ball and you're trying to get, it's too late. That's why you get taken to the ground. But of the 30-plus completions, that's him getting to the right place, getting the ball out of hand, and the big plays is where you get it to a player who can do something with it after the fact. So, okay, some of the things Dylan got right was going from an audible and an obvious passing set to get him the ball to Emmett and just going, you know what? We need to take 4 yards and get back in the huddle. And he did hit the one interception, right? Batted ball. I thought that was a read issue more than I wouldn't have made the throw. But Dylan's a much better quarterback than I am. So he might have thought I can fit this thing through the needle.
We can call Barry quick, see if Barry would
Right. Well, I know. I got the text from Barry. If he's not being pressured, if this is Akron, he has time to see the top of that route come open rather than under. In his mind, he's taking the layup. That was one where they jumped the layup and he had the open 3. In normal situation, he would find that. But with pressure, again, this is a brand new Dylan Raiola we had to see tonight because we hadn't seen him against Michigan, and he hadn't seen Michigan this year. That kind of pressure, that kind of speed.
He hadn't seen Michigan at all. He didn't play him last year.
Well, no, but I'm saying he hasn't seen a front get after him like that this year. So his clock's a little bit off because he's had time.
Because it's first time.
Games 1 through 3, he had time. Game 4, wait a minute. These dudes are bigger, they're moving faster, and getting here a lot quicker. So to say that Dylan played better, you ready for this? Dylan may have been better tonight than he's been in the previous 3 games.
No, I think that's entirely
more was
valid.
asked of him. Emmett picking up blitzers. Again, better. Who's the replacement corner?
Donovan Jones.
Yeah, that you're putting them in situations that we know the 3 plays they didn't make, which means we may miss the 9 plays they did make.
I think that's fair. Starter Heyman Jewelers text line, you guys got plenty there. We'll get to you in just a sec. I think 2 things come to mind to me when we talk about Dylan Raiola, DP. Number 1 is in postgame. He said he thought he wasn't, confused. He said he thought he had a good grasp on what Michigan was doing, and good on him if that's the way he feels. I think, just from the eye test, the first look live and in person, he didn't seem confused. It didn't seem like he had no idea where to go with the ball. It didn't seem like he didn't know where the pressure was going to come from. Sometimes he didn't have time to diagnose. Guys were in his lap pretty early. Sometimes there was good coverage down the field in muddied scramble lanes. And Dylan's never going to be a runner. He's got to be effective enough with his legs. But for the people complaining, oh, why doesn't Dylan take off? He showed some good escapability early in that game. Couple guys had him dead to rights. He got out of it, made some throws, got the ball out. The other part of it, though, that I think is interesting is it's hard for me to gauge the performance from Dana Holgerson, who was a big storyline for me coming into the game, given Nebraska's offensive struggles in games like this in recent history. The sins of predecessors are not on Dana Holgerson, but he's got a track record, a good one for a reason. It's hard for me to judge the game that Dana Holgerson called because of how much freedom they tell us that they give Dylan Raiola. But again, it's a step in the right direction for Nebraska to have scored 27 points in a game like this. They haven't gotten to 27 points against Iowa in a long time. They just finally got over 27 points against Wisconsin, admittedly in a downslide last year. Nebraska hasn't gotten to 27 against Ohio State, against Penn State. They didn't get to 27 against Indiana.
They could have given up more than 30.
against
They
Illinois.
could have given up more than 30 today.
And that.
They could have given up more than 30 today. They could have given up more big plays than they gave up today. Again, some of this is Michigan.
Mm-hmm.
Not all of what happened today is Nebraska.
Mm-hmm.
Nebraska doing what we don't know what Dana saw on film. Again, it's a new group. His group is new. The Michigan team that showed up here today is new. Because guess what? They had a different coach today, and different decisions were made than have been. A lot of the tendencies don't line up because you have a different guy play calling.
Mm-hmm.
There's a whole bunch of things that are in play.
Mm-hmm.
My thing is this. It's a loss, not a bad loss.
It's a painful loss, but not an embarrassing loss.
Well, it sucks because it's a loss.
Mm-hmm.
Like you were emotionally invested in the idea that Nebraska could be better, and they were. They just weren't better than Michigan. They're better than Nebraska's been. But then we can't be hypocrites and say Nebraska's biggest battle is always Nebraska, but then not give Nebraska credit for getting some of the stuff right against a better opponent.
For being better. Exactly.
Right, a tougher opponent.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
let's hit our text line. You guys got a lot going on here. 9998 doesn't seem to agree with us. Here's the thing, though, 9998, against a down Michigan. This is what we led the show with. Maybe you're just tuning in, so I don't want to, come at you because it seems like you're being a little bit sarcastic. This Michigan is not a national championship caliber Michigan team, but they've also had a recruiting pipeline that's been better than Nebraska with championship expectations for longer than Nebraska has. The opponent is always the opponent, right? Nebraska lost to Michigan today. They did not get over the hump. The only team that's lost more consecutive games against ranked teams is Rutgers. That is a problem. It needs to be fixed. Nebraska's head coach has his own personal demons against top 25 teams that he has yet to exercise at Nebraska. That is a problem. Nebraska needs to be better today than it was. But Nebraska was also better today than it has been. Don't just take the bad. Don't just take the good. That's all we're trying to tell you, is that we're going to have a lot of interesting conversations over the course of the next couple weeks until Nebraska gets another chance to go out there and put it all on the line against Michigan State. Yeah, maybe Nebraska did play some JV teams before Michigan, but I also think you're underselling Cincinnati in calling them a JV team. Well, Nebraska is not the only team to play a MAC team and an FCS team in the non-conference.
I just don't think. Listen, feel how you feel, and you're entitled to feel how you feel. I'm not entitled to tell you how to feel, and you're not entitled to tell us how to feel about what we saw. Now, here's what I would say. First of all, if you seem to feel like you know more about this than Matt Rule, wrong. If you think you know everything that Dana Holgerson coached his players to do this year.
99-98. Cincinnati is a middle-of-the-road Big 12 team, dog. Nebraska is a middle-of-the-road Big 10 team.
We understand that. Why are you comparing? Stop standing at the urinal looking at the dude next to you, bruh. Like, we're talking about Nebraska.
You're in the same tier of college football right now.
Here's the thing. Nebraska's 3-1. They are who they are. They lost a 3-point game to Michigan, a team that was playing in the national championship 2 years ago. a team that beat the national champion last year, and the team that is currently 3-1 as well. And if you want to talk apples to apple, this Nebraska team made plays today that it has not made in the past few weeks or past few seasons. But it also made some of the bonehead plays that it's made previously.
For 15 years.
And both can be true. Both can be true at the same time. That Michigan's 3-1, Nebraska's 3-1. Both of them feel different. They feel differently about their trips home tonight. Michigan feels like, you know what? Well done. Well done. But they also know there's some players that when film study happens, the butt will be chewed. They're going to get absolutely annihilated in film. Why? Because this is just one stop on the road. This is one game. The game ends. You learn from it. Nebraska, there's some players. Ja'Cory Barney stood up at that podium. He felt good about some things, and then he felt terrible about some things. He's got to get better. Dylan's got to get better. Offensive line's got to get better. Dana Holgerson will tell you, you know what? I need to do better. There's some things that I missed. There's some things Butler will tell you, there's some things I missed. It's a part of the deal. Why are we acting like this is brand new?
It's not brand new. I want to shout out 0732 on our Starter Heyman Jewelers text line. I think this is the first message we have from you on record. 0732. Thanks a ton for not just listening, but for chiming in. 8186 DP. This is a Sweet Lou on our Starter Heyman Jewelers text line. Michigan scored 3 touchdowns on long runs where the runner wasn't at all touched. Other than those plays, the defense played pretty well. Can those breakdowns be fixed? What it looked like to me in the press box is that, yes, Nebraska missed some assignments, but also you got to credit Michigan. They called the right play for when Nebraska went to some twists. When Nebraska went to some stunts, they hit the gap. They got vacated before the other guy could get over that. That's good play calling. That's good scouting. Nebraska has stuff to fix. For as many physical issues as there were for Nebraska, where they got outmanned at the line of scrimmage, they can take better angles in the secondary. You can teach that. They can have better eye discipline at the second and third level. You can teach that. You're not going to fix the Jimmies and Joes, make them 10% better athletically overnight. That's not changing. But there are ways for Nebraska to improve and not make the same mistakes again moving forward in Big Ten play.
So let's take Underwood's 37-yard touchdown run. Right? Motion was a unique motion in this particular set for what Michigan would normally run at that down and distance in that place on the field. So Michigan went in its bag. And the inexperienced safeties, seeing that thing, reacted how they thought based on tendency and film study. That, you know what? They were going to try to get to the hash marks with their second and third receivers. But what Underwood, and remember, I think the number is like 48% of Nebraska defenses, or most defenses, you don't account for the quarterback. Now, because Underwood's a runner, you will account for him some of the time. You cannot account for him with a spy all the time. You can't do it. So Michigan caught them in the perfect thing. The motion identified, you know what? He's going to trail. This safety over the top is going to trail this motion man, and the middle of the field is going to be open. Now, you hope that the freshman quarterback doesn't see it. He doesn't catch it, except
he was given one read, and that is pause and go.
Which was watch the motion. This motion will tell us whether somebody's home or not. If they're not home, pull it down and get to work. But that's the mechanics behind the game. You can sit back and say, well, nobody was there. There's a reason why nobody was there. That was the risk that you took. And you hope, because Underwood doesn't escape in that gap all the time. Normally, he will take an outside escape route. In that one, because they had seen it on film and they called that motion just to see what was going to happen. His tendency earlier in the game in drive number 1 was to jump the hash. In that case, if he jumps the hash, take it to the house down the middle of the field. Sometimes safety needs to make a play. Sometimes you make a play.
Sometimes you don't, and then you give up a 37-yard.
Late screen. You got to make the tackle. You just got to get him to the ground.
Yeah.
But guess what? That dude does bench presses too. That dude does squats too. He really does. And guess what? He got you. He got you. The one guy who can make – you can't keep asking for perfect football because it doesn't exist. When it happens, it's a rareness. It's a rarity when somebody – the one guy who can make the play makes the play. It doesn't happen that way.
Well, we'll wrap up this segment with this. A man named Ashley. Michigan is the more talented team right now, also more talented than pretty much everyone on the schedule except Penn State and maybe USC. But USC has lots of unknowns as well. Nebraska can still make some hay this year. Problem is Nebraska didn't make enough hay tonight, but they still got 8 more games to go. We'll take our first break of the 8 p.m. hour here on the Husker After Party post-game show. Dan from Canopy, we see your text on our Starter Heyman Jewelers text line. Appreciate you listening and chiming in as always. We'll get to you leading off the second segment of this hour of the After Party.
I'm Kirk Herbstreit, and today I'm eating Raising Cane's.
Herbstreit's in the drive-thru again. Oh, hey, Kirk. What can I get you today?
I want a solid bench of 4 chicken fingers that are real difference makers. Sprinkle cut fries with dynamic ridge patterns, Texas toast, and cane sauce with an air of smugness that comes from knowing you're the best. Now back to you, Todd.
So the usual.
Make Raising Cane's part of your game day lineup. One love.
Hungry for something real? Come to HF Crave, Lincoln's favorite spot for burgers that are anything but basic. Locally sourced Nebraska beef, hand-cut fries, and bold flavors that'll make your taste buds cheer. Whether you're craving the classics or ready to try something wild, they've got the burger that gets you. HF Crave. Fresh, local, craveable. Find them at 48th and Holdridge or order online at hfcrave.com.
Sometimes good people make mistakes. When you find yourself in need of an attorney, call Liberty Law Group. The attorneys at Liberty Law Group will defend you in court and protect your freedom to get you the best possible outcome and the justice you deserve. Trust your freedom to Liberty Law Group, the best criminal attorneys in Nebraska and Iowa. Call them today at 877-404-5238. That's 877-404-5238. Or check them out online at libertylawgroup.com.
Hey there, this is Paul Scheel, owner of High Electric. I want to thank our friends and loyal customers and introduce High Electric to those looking for a new electrician. We've been serving the Lincoln and Omaha area for over 30 years, from design to install, upgrades, and repair. If you are a homeowner or a small business needing some electrical work, call us at 402-466-6606 or check us out at hyelectric.com. We look forward to hearing from you.
Hey guys, it's Adam Carricker here. As a former Husker and NFL player, I'm a health nut. Hydration and recovery starts at home. That's why I teamed up with Culligan of Lincoln. Soft water means better showers, cleaner dishes, and it protects my water heater and appliances. Their high-efficiency softener cuts salt and water usage. For drinking, I added a Culligan reverse osmosis. Bottled quality water right at my tap. Great taste, and it's certified to reduce tough contaminants like lead and PFAs. Right now, get up to $300 off a whole home system or just $9.95 per month for your first 3 months. Schedule your free water test at CulliganHuskers.com. That's CulliganHuskers.com. Culligan of Lincoln. Water you love. Go Big Red.
Limited time offer. Participating dealers. Restrictions may apply. Load up on meat and more this spring at The Mercado by Certified Piedmontese, with great selections of T-bones, tomahawks, ribeyes, filet mignon, brisket, sirloin, and so much more. The Mercado has locations at 84th and Havelock, 30th and Yankee Hill, and now 85th and Old Cheney in Lincoln, where you can have $2 draft beer every Thursday night from 4 to 8 p.m. and half-price espresso drinks on Fridays from 8 a.m. to 2 p.m. Get to The Mercado today for the best meat in town.
At Jimmy John's, we don't make sandwiches. We make the sandwich of sandwiches. We use fresh veggies because we don't hate salads. We just feel bad for them. We make our sandwiches exactly how you want because you're the one who's eating it. And we bake bread all day, every day because stale bread isn't bread. It's croutons. Sandwich history is written by the victors. Good thing we have legible handwriting. Jimmy John's, the sandwich of sandwiches.
Order pickup or delivery on the app.
Stonebrook Exterior is your trusted partner in exterior solutions for both residential and commercial projects across Lincoln and Omaha. With over 2 decades of expertise, they deliver everything your building needs, all under one roof. From roofing and siding to gutters, wall systems, custom masonry, and metalwork, Stonebrook handles it all with precision, safety, and professionalism. Take the worry out of your exterior projects. Choose Stonebrook Exterior, where quality, safety, and service come together seamlessly. Visit stonebrookexterior.com or call 402-438-5559 to get your free quote today.
Are you ready for a new opportunity? Check out Sandhills Global. Join a dynamic team where your skills are valued and your career can soar. We offer full-time positions with a 4.5-day work week, competitive pay, excellent benefits, and a positive work environment. From IT and marketing to sales and finance, we're looking for talented individuals like you. Apply today at sandhills.jobs and take the first step towards an exciting future. That's sandhills.jobs. Don't wait, apply now.
Things that impair you come in many different shapes and sizes. Some are the shape of beer and liquor bottles. Others look like cigarettes but aren't cigarettes at all. These are the things we know impair us, the things our parents warned us about. What we're not always aware of is our new prescription or the over-the-counter medicine we picked up just for allergies or a bad cold. See, it doesn't just matter how much of a substance you take. If you are impaired, driving is deceptively dangerous. Don't drive impaired. Paid for by the NDOT Highway Safety Office.
Welcome back to the Husker After Party Postgame Show. The Husker After Party Postgame Show is brought to you by Anderson Ford, Baumgars, and Vinny Kreekak of State Farm Insurance on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
We're rolling right along, Husker After Party Postgame Show. Austin Norman, Derek Pearson along with you. 402-464-5685. Would love to hear from you throughout the course of the rest of the show. We also want you to know that Vinny Kreekak is with you. Protect yourself from the unexpected. Contact Vinny and his team for a personal price plan to take the guessing out of insurance. Call today, 402-474-1173. Dan from Canopy DP, our friend Dan down at Canopy Street Market, says the Mike Leach offense struggles in the red zone. You drive between the 20s and then it gets tough. Just didn't work for Nebraska today, GBR. Offensive process in the red zone today. A plus for you, a minus for you. How did you look at Nebraska inside the 20?
Well, I mean, we saw some things. Like, again, Harbaugh usage, play calling being the thing that most people would question. Did you get from it what you want to get from it? Decision making, do you take the points? It's basically your philosophy, the individual philosophy. Do you take the points early? There was some value in being up 3-0, and getting something for the drive, being productive and allowing the crowd to have the moment.
How much of that is the mentality of your team and your offense, right? If you have a maybe mentally softer team that you need the positive reinforcement of points, to me, it says a lot about the mentality of this offense that even if things get tough, they want to be aggressive. They're okay with not getting points because they made the quote unquote right decision by the analytics and they trust themselves to go get it. Maybe that's a consideration.
Well, to see what we don't know what Dana saw on film, and the play calls that were put in. Again, maybe not what I would have called. If I'm going to run on 3rd and 4th down, short yardage, some thinking would be let's go power. Let's go power. Let's not be flexible, fluid. No, you don't need to do that.
And not for nothing, maybe the play works if 51 doesn't get blown up.
Right.
Execution.
But here's the thing. How many times can we ask 51 not to get blown up against a dude that's going to be
in the NFL?
Right. So what are we asking?
Yeah.
Like, don't ask a guy to do a thing that he might not be able to do. You hope he can do it. You want to give him a chance to do it. Right. But okay. Think about the play sequence later in the game where Harbaugh comes in motion and then goes to the flat. Well, that's a consideration there. But if he's in the game, then you're kind of tipped to that, right? Early in the game, don't know what the possibility is. Who's your best runner? And that's on a thing you talked about Dylan as a runner. Breathe, exhale. A huge portion of me would say this, and I used to say it about Kirk Cousins in Washington all the time, that Kirk, not as a runner, but Kirk needs to provide the threat of running.
That part.
That, quite frankly, you don't need for Dylan Raiola to be Bryce Underwood. You do need for him to hold linebackers and safeties because he will pull it down and run for 3 yards and get a first down or a touchdown.
The example I go back to is Marcus Mariota. Not exactly a running quarterback, but kept it just often enough to keep defenses honest.
Yep. To be able to say to people that, quite frankly, quite frankly, you want Dylan to make his play, right? To make his play and to put defenses under duress so that you can run some other things that you want to run. And it's not that you want Dylan to run for 100 yards or you need for him to run for 50 yards. No, what I need for him to do is plant the seed that Dylan will get a first down, and a first down of importance, right? By getting 4 yards and sliding. I don't need for him to be RG3. I need for him to plant the seed, just like Underwood, that 11th defender is held because Dylan will pull it and just get 4 yards. Again, don't need for him to be Superman. I need for him to do his thing once in a while just to hold defenders.
Back to our Starter Heyman Jewelers text line we go. Let's get to 5280. I don't understand why the strength of Nebraska's team, the secondary, needed help. Quarterback draw for a touchdown was schemed up perfectly. Nebraska has a clear tendency to go man. No idea why a team who hasn't trusted their quarterback to throw would be throwing in that situation. I don't think it's necessarily that Michigan didn't trust Bryce Underwood to throw. I think Michigan had an advantage in the run game. They utilized it because, DP, we saw the arm talent from Bryce Underwood, right? He's got a fastball to him. He layered some throws pretty well, threw well on the move. And if not for Donovan McCulley doing the Kevin Durant have a shoe size too big thing, or even just picking the wrong color cleats, that was a dot up the right sideline that could have put Michigan up by not just 2 scores, but 2 touchdowns later on in that game. I don't think it's that Michigan doesn't trust him to throw, but it's the same conversation that, here we go back to the program, the development of a program. Michigan doesn't need to ask its quarterback to be Superman because they got pieces around him. When Michigan needed to make throws, they were more than happy to put the ball in Bryce Underwood's hands.
Well, I mean, pick your poison. We now know, we now have a full understanding in our conversations over the course of time that you cannot defend everything all the time. No matter what you choose to defend, you're conceding something. And then the chess game and the checkers game happens. And then if you guess right, you look like a genius. If you guess wrong, if you guess wrong, they go wrong. And that's just how the game is played. There are things that, again, if you're Nebraska and you call a timeout with 1 second left, you don't think Michigan knows what they're doing?
Or what you're doing, either way?
You just execute it. You just execute it. Like, I'm pretty sure that was a conversation that happened in the locker room. Oh, well, what were we taking away? What are the rules?
Well, and think about that conversation from the Michigan end. We got away with one.
Yeah.
We messed up our clock management. It didn't come back to bite us. We got to be better there.
Listen, it is easy to say that this player had a good night. This player didn't have a good night. This play was terrible. This series was great or not great. And all of it can be true. But I do need to, I want to say that I saw a lot of things tonight that were better than they've been here at Nebraska under Matt Rule and Dylan Raiola and Dana Holgerson and Bullock and Braddock and the whole group.
Back to our guy, Dan from Canopy. Royals. Wrap up a 2-1 win over the Toronto Blue Jays, so I can go home happy tonight.
Attaboy.
51-62. Yes, Nebraska's pass defense is talented. How much of it is teams just choosing to run at Nebraska since they can't stop it? There's the chess match. It's a very brute force chess match right now. So if you're in Nebraska, you have to stay true to who you are, what you believe your players can do. But there's the next degree of that chess match, DP, is you present a look. And how are you in those emergency situations? When a team makes the right call against you, do you have the dudes in good enough position to keep an 8-yard gain from becoming an 80-yard gain? Like we saw tonight. Like you said, something's always going to be conceded, no matter who you are. Whether you're number 1 Ohio State, number 5 Texas, number 12 Ole Miss, whoever you are, you're going to give something up. But how can you prevent the situations where you get caught with your pants down from turning into oh, shoot, now I got to turn and look at the other guy striking up the band. How can it be, okay, well, I just found my belt. I can pull my pants up for the next play.
Well, I mean, every scheme, every package that's put together, every down and distance, there are tendencies tied to it because coaches play calls in those situations are trackable.
Yeah.
The same thing applies defensively. So on every single play, it is scheme versus scheme, play 1A versus defense 1A, audible to play 1B offensively, audible to play 1B to show just in case they get to play 1C, right? And then you still have to execute. You have to make blocks. You have to make throws. You have to be on time. You have to be in the right place. And then you got to get people to the ground. So none of it is, you know what? Oh, it's just scheme. Oh, no, it's just personnel. No. And then sometimes.
All of it is all of it.
Sometimes you can have the right personnel package and the right play call for the down and distance. And 8 of the people on the field can do it exactly the way you practice it. The one guy at point of attack doesn't. And it looks like crap. And then you can say, well, you suck offensively. Sometimes it's quarterback not making the audible. Hey, man, maybe not seeing the blitz. You know why he didn't see it? Because they hit it. They showed you a 4-front. It was actually a 3-front where they were going to actually bring 2 backers. One of those backers was going to stunt, and the other one was going to bull rush on the edge where your escape route normally is, right? And you're going to go from having the 1.6 seconds to throw the ball to 1.1. And guess what? They get home at 1.3. Hey, tough deal. That's just high level, especially in the Big Ten football. That's just the way it works. And sometimes the other guy is a half a step. We want to know the difference between 4.6 and 4.4?
1 step.
Hey, man, there it is. Like the difference between that extra, being able to do those extra reps with the 220. There it is.
To that point, I think we can shift this conversation to a player that, to me, DP, really sums up the entirety of the night for Nebraska. And that is the leading receiver by yards, Ja'Cory Barney Jr. Stat line, 6 catches on 7 targets, 120 yards, 2 receiving touchdowns for him, the long 52-yarder and the one that tied it up for Nebraska initially at 10-10. So back-to-back touchdowns for him. That's the good. He looked really good. The first touchdown was honestly some of the most impressed I've been with Ja'Cory Barney Jr. Nebraska got a look. Nebraska had to win early. Ja'Cory Barney Jr. did. The guy that was lined up over him ended up dropping down, taking more of that intermediate flat area. The guy that was over top, the outside receiver, was the one responsible for dropping back over top. Interesting play call by Wink Martindale. He's known for those. So what did Ja'Cory Barney Jr. have to do? Run his route perfectly, do it quickly, and beat the Michigan guy to the spot. Guess what? He did it.
He slimmed it down. He could have gone and extended the route. He could have stacked it, but instead he skinnied it to get inside it and make it. There's an apex space between 2 defenders,
and he found it.
He found it, and Dylan saw it and threw him
and
to
Dylan
it.
Hit it,
and it's not that easy. It just was done in that particular case.
Then the Hail Mary. That's a dude making a play.
Yep.
That is a playmaker making a play. Shortest guy in the pile of 10 guys goes up, gets the ball, has body control to land properly and fall backwards. If he falls forward, who knows if Nebraska gets the benefit of the doubt, the call, and the 7 points at the end of the first half. But then you flip it to the other side of things. Catching the punt at the 4-yard line, getting tackled to the 3. For one of the guys that has a single digit, that's supposed to be a leader on the team, one of the most respected guys. I'm not saying his respect goes out the window, but you expect him every time to make the non-decision, to bail. He made the wrong decision, made the wrong choice. It cost Nebraska immensely at that point because they go 3 and out. Yeah, Archie Wilson flips the field with the punt, but you see the difference between Michigan and Nebraska. When Michigan had a bad drive, a stalled out drive, they still flipped the field. When Nebraska had a stalled drive, it came with the series starting inside the 5-yard line. They didn't go anywhere, and then Michigan gets the ball back at their 40. The other opportunity that I think, to me, illustrates the next step of growth for Ja'Cory Barney Jr. is it seems like every week or every couple weeks, he's one slap tackle, one ankle tackle, one shoelace away from breaking something open. you and I were both watching. I think it was the last play I watched before I walked out of the stadium to get here. If he breaks that one tackle and Nebraska has the ball on Michigan's side of the field in the fourth quarter instead of at its own 35-yard line, again, it's a hypothetical. But Ja'Cory Barney Jr. keeps getting tackled by an arm. Michigan's guys break arm tackles. Ja'Cory Barney Jr. gets brought down by arm tackles. He's a good player. I like Ja'Cory Barney Jr. Someone tried to tell me he was generational for Nebraska. He's not there yet. He's got some more proving to do. Good player, I like him. Emmett Johnson, good player, I like him. Has gotten better than he was as a freshman. But Nebraska has a bunch of pretty good guys. But Nebraska's always one little bit away from legendary status in some ways with these guys.
I'm gonna say this about Ja'Cory Barney. One, again, it's game 17 for him.
Mm-hmm.
You have to allow that.
For sure.
You have to allow that. The other side of it is that we can't forget that Michigan's playmakers on the outside didn't make plays. Didn't make plays.
Mm-hmm.
It was their skill players in the backfield that made plays.
Mm-hmm.
We don't even know who played tight end for Michigan. We don't even know, right? The outside receivers, they were brought to the ground pretty easily. It's when it was in open field against the running backs where tackles were broken and plays were made. So I don't think for Barney that, because if you're going to grade Ja'Cory Barney tonight, I don't know what other people would grade him, but you can't devalue what he did for what he didn't do.
That's what I'm saying. It's the mixed bag.
Right. So through all of them. So how would you grade his overall performance tonight?
B+.
Right.
B+.
Right.
He made the majority of the plays in front of him.
Right.
Just like Nebraska did. Nebraska as a team made the vast majority of the plays in front of him. It was shaping up to be a legendary game for Ja'Cory Barney Jr. Put the team on his back, who showed that sort of thing. And I'm not trying to devalue the Hail Mary catch where that dude went up and made a play. I just gave him a lot of props for running that route correctly and perfectly like he did, holding on to it. Another nice catch where he got popped at the end of the game that led to 7 points for Nebraska. Ja'Cory Barney Jr. had a fantastic game, but it wasn't a perfect game. And the two plays that weren't made are arguably some turning points for Nebraska in the moment.
But this is where I land, and I have to be careful because I've been in too many battles. There are no perfect games.
No, I agree.
They're just no. That, like, asking for perfection, it's not realistic, and it's almost arrogant for a fan to expect a player to play a perfect game. It doesn't happen. Offensive linemen don't play perfect games. Quarterbacks don't play perfect games. Even if their rating system was off the chart, they don't play a perfect game. Running backs, if you run for 2 bills, it's not a perfect game. You could have missed reads. You could have missed blocks. You could have done things. Receiver, you could have 3 touchdowns. Not a perfect game. So the perfect game discussion kind of scratches me the wrong way because that's not the mission. The mission is, can you make enough plays to win the game? And then from that, doing all the things as best you can, as often as you can, as consistently as you can. So the mistake that he made is a coachable, teachable moment. It should never happen, and it did. But he's still a sophomore. He's still new to this, and he's still not fully formed in it. Like we don't even know. He doesn't have his grown-up body yet.
Right.
So that plays into some of it.
Well, and that's another thing. Isaac says, well, in fairness, he is explosive, but he weighs in at about 90 pounds.
All of that's that's the thing. It hasn't.
And that goes to my overarching point. Nebraska doesn't always pass the get off the bus test.
Oh, 100%.
That's my point. Michigan is still more talented across the board as a whole, as a program, 1 through 105, than Nebraska. And it's another point on that real quick is that this is the indicative part of it for Nebraska over the last 15 years, is that it shouldn't take a perfect game to beat Michigan. It wouldn't have taken a perfect game to beat Michigan. But sometimes other teams' dudes that are playmakers are 2 inches taller and 30 pounds heavier to where the slap tackle doesn't bother them.
Yeah, it's we were on the sideline before the game, and Lance Harvell, at one given moment in the same space, it's Mark Manning, Lance Harvell, Nate Lenzer from Husker basketball. There's a group of dudes, and we're standing there as Michigan takes the field, and we all look at each other. Oh, those dudes shop at Whole Food.
Entirely Whole Food.
Whole entire food.
Mm-hmm.
Nebraska and Michigan don't shop at the same stores.
And so $44.91, that's the difference.
Right. You got to understand, it is not all the same. It is not all the same. And they're also not in the same place. Because, again, 2 years ago, Michigan State was the best in the country. And some of those players were the best in the country. And we know how good Ernest Hausmann was. We know how good he was. He's better now at Michigan with better people around him. So guess what? It shows up. It shows up. We understand. Look, I would love to have 4 4-star receivers that we don't use, that we don't have to give the ball to. Right? That's not Michigan. That's not Michigan's testimony. Quite frankly, we got 2 Sunday running backs, and we have a quarterback that's going to be a problem for as long as he's at University of Michigan. What do you do? What do you do? They've got, as you said, they've got 8 offensive linemen that might start at Nebraska. Probably would start at Nebraska. Right? They have 5 defensive linemen that probably
would start at Nebraska.
Right? So, and then we know the linebacker would certainly start at Nebraska. So we have to be fair and logical in assessing that. Listen, you can scheme away some of it. You can outwork some of it. You can outthink some of it. You can all of that. But sometimes rubber meets the road, and either you have the juice or you don't.
And I think our texter from the UK, that shout out to you. Thanks for listening in. You know, it's the difference between 4 and 5 stars and 3 and 4 stars. Now, can Nebraska start developing, their 3-star guys into 4 stars, their 4s into 5? That's a question for a different time. I want to get to this from Phil, DP. Don't forget, Barney also lucked out on that punt that he let bounce in the first half. He turned it into a nice game, but probably not advisable to field that. I completely disagree, Phil. That, to me, was a great read by Ja'Cory Barney Jr. because what happened? The ball bounced. Sure, maybe you're not coached to do it there, but that's where Jay Foreman would say, do your job and then make a play. What did Ja'Cory Barney Jr. see? The guy that was running at him full bore stood up a little bit. So Ja'Cory Barney Jr. knew, when I catch this ball, I'm in an athletic stance. He's not. I can make him miss. Then you had another guy going faster at him, made him miss. That's reading the game. That's playing the game well. And then, again, my uninformed, having not talked to Ja'Cory Barney Jr. opinion of things, is that punt to essentially open the second half struck me as a kid who was feeling himself a little bit, who had a big touchdown, who made a play.
It's a heat check. It's a heat check.
And it's hard to avoid. That's the human element. When Nebraska is better across the board and more disciplined, you avoid taking the heat check in that moment. But that's a young guy trying to make a play who, like he said, the moment was big.
Boy, it 100%. All of that was true. A couple of things just before we go to break, because I know we need to get one.
We were good to the top of the hour.
Okay.
Now it's set up.
So here's the deal. Nebraska volleyball is currently in set number 2. They took set number 1. Set number 2 is 17-16, second set. Arizona on serve. But we will have a post-match volleyball show. So as the football thing ends and volleyball ends, Mandy Monson will come in and we will break down. Actually, we'll pick her brain about what happened in tonight's volleyball game and get you folks used to hanging out with us for Nebraska volleyball, the number 1 ranked team in the country, as they get through their season. So it's tied at 17 second set. So there's that.
Again, 402-464-5685. You want to be a part of the show. We'll keep going here for another 5-10 minutes or so on the Husker After Party post-game show. Still, I think a lot, DP, on the Nebraska football side of things. When you talk about playmakers, Dane Key, 3 for 36 on 4 targets. And Isaiah Hunter, 2 for 34 on 6 targets. Nebraska looked his way a lot. For whatever reason, didn't connect. unfortunate situation in the back of the end zone. Looked like Hunter was wide open, just took a step too far out of bounds. Can't be the first one to touch it, but Quinn Clark has a catch. Cortez Mills Jr. has a catch. And I think when you look across the board, I mean, Lindenmeyer leading receiver, a number of catches with 7 of them. That was one of the things that I wanted to see carry over for Nebraska from non-conference play to conference play, was the depth of options. That Nebraska didn't just have to run, the same 4 or 5 guys out there for all 65, 70 plays. I think pretty much everyone that took the field for Nebraska today in the skill position core made an impact, made a play of some sort. And I think that depth can be a strength for Nebraska in the skill positions moving forward throughout Big Ten play.
Yeah, I'm slightly intrigued. There were moments where I wanted Nebraska to take some shots to the playmakers, get the ball, quick game. Watching what Michigan, how they were lining up, and what put them under the most duress. And then it's the most duress, and then there's also the simplest duress. What could have Nebraska have done to make them uncomfortable often? And you were expecting those things for the game to speed up, for the quick game routes, to remove some of the slower developing pass route combinations, which bugged me a little bit, probably more than it should, quite frankly.
Well, let me ask you this. Was the quick game stuff available?
Yes.
I'm sure it was at times, because sometimes it seemed like Michigan was getting pressure with 3 or 4, and there were still guys available defensively in some of those quick lanes, depending on what Nebraska had on the menu, right? You talk about play 1A, 1B, and 1C. I'm sure there were opportunities for the quick game, but that's, I think, just illustrative of the power of being able to get home with 3 or 4 guys. Is that what's the answer for a lot of offenses? Will hit something quick. But if you can get home with 3 or 4 and you still have 7 or 8 guys in coverage, maybe some of that wasn't on the menu for Nebraska through 1A, B, and C.
Well, I mean, but then you're asking the quick game, and with that pressure, exactly how long did it take them to get home?
Yeah.
Also, in that space, that sometimes the peripheral noise of, Nebraska calling another bubble screen, right? That thing's been said. And the reality, yeah, you're over here. There you go. You need to be over here, right? So you got to stay there. Wait, there we go. And then they got a whole crew. There we go. Now we'll get you up there. Hold on. 3, 2, 1. They'll get them up on the screen there. There you go. There you go. There we go. They're figuring it out. They're figuring it out. I think quick game is simple. The whole purpose behind it is to get the ball to your playmakers in space and force your opponent to make tackles in tough situations. And it's not that if you try it once and then it doesn't work. Okay, they made the tackle on the bubble screen. You run the jet sweep and they made the tackle. No, that's long game. That if I run it 3 times, it's the 3rd time that pops. It's the 4th time that pops. And that's why you have to stick to it. So the stuff was there. I don't know what Dana saw. I don't know what Dana was seeing. I don't know the conversations between Dana and Donovan Raiola, because if there's something that Dana wants to run and it's not being blocked, that's a conversation. Hey, Donnie, what can we do? Like, what can you do to make sure Dylan has enough time to make this throw?
That's the boy.
I need time for this route to clear. I need time for this defender to be attacked. And guess what? If it's a back end defender, it's a slow developing play. Doesn't mean it won't be there. It just means you need time for it to get there and to make the throw. We don't know. I was not invited to those meetings. But there were quick route combinations open if that's what they so chose. Also being down 2 scores and the time of the game certainly playing to it.
We saw Nebraska go to one of those, draw a pass interference penalty for a whopping 4 yards, maybe the shortest pass interference penalty I've seen in a long time. DP, how about this? I will kill the national macro. We will go to break here. We'll keep the conversation rolling after this. Work for you?
Yes, sir.
Okay. More Husker After Party post-game show getting you set up for Nebraska Volleyball post-game next on the ticket.
When only the best will do. Sartor Heyman Jewelers.
Rick Heyman here from Starter Heyman Jewelers. I want to personally thank our great customers for voting us once again the best of Lincoln. At the same time, we're celebrating our 120th year in business in the great state of Nebraska. Visit us at South Point, Grand Island, and the Outlet in downtown Lincoln. Visit us today at StarterHeyman.com.
Starter Heyman Jewelers.
When the clock strikes zero after every Nebraska football game, there's only one place to go for instant coverage. Tune in for the Husker After Party Postgame Show on 93.7 The Ticket for each game, win or lose. Call in with all your takes or text the show at 464-5685 and hear quotes from the players and coaches too. It's the Husker After Party Postgame Show, sponsored by Anderson Ford and Vinny Kreekak of State Farm Insurance.
Stonebrook Exterior is your trusted partner in exterior solutions for both residential and commercial projects across Lincoln and Omaha. With over 2 decades of expertise, they deliver everything your building needs, all under one roof. From roofing and siding to gutters, wall systems, custom masonry, and metalwork, Stonebrook handles it all with precision, safety, and professionalism. Take the worry out of your exterior projects. Choose Stonebrook Exterior, where quality, safety, and service come together seamlessly. Visit StonebrookExterior.com or call 402-438-5559 to get your free quote today.
At Jimmy John's, we don't make sandwiches. We make the sandwich of sandwiches. We use fresh veggies because we don't hate salads. We just feel bad for them. We make our sandwiches exactly how you want because you're the one who's eating it. And we bake bread all day, every day because stale bread isn't bread. It's croutons. Sandwich history is written by the victors. Good thing we have legible handwriting. Jimmy John's, the sandwich of sandwiches. Order pickup or delivery on the app.
Sometimes good people make mistakes. When you find yourself in need of an attorney, call Liberty Law Group. The attorneys at Liberty Law Group will defend you in court and protect your freedom to get you the best possible outcome and the justice you deserve. Trust your freedom to Liberty Law Group, the best criminal attorneys in Nebraska and Iowa. Call them today at 877-404-5238. That's 877-404-5238. Or check them out online at libertylawgroup.com.
I'm Kirk Herbstreit, and today I'm eating Raising Cane's.
Herb Street's in the drive-thru again. Oh, hey, Kirk. What can I get you today?
I want a solid bench of 4 chicken fingers that are real difference makers. Sprinkle cut fries with dynamic ridge patterns, Texas toast, and cane sauce with an air of smugness that comes from knowing you're the best. Now back to you, Todd.
So the usual.
Make Raising Cane's part of your game day lineup. One love.
Hi, this is Tom Osborne. Join me on September 23rd and dine at your favorite local Renza in support of Teammates Mentoring. 10% of Renza sales on September 23rd will benefit your local Teammates Mentoring chapter. Teammates Mentoring helps students reach their full potential by providing a caring adult mentor to meet with them once a week in school. Thank you for your support of Teammates Mentoring. We will see you at Runza on September 23rd.
MWR is dedicated to building attractive, affordable steel buildings that exceed your expectations. From commercial to residential to agriculture storage, steel buildings are cost-effective, attractive, and versatile. Plus, they're a lasting investment and an ideal choice. MWR uses Sentinel Building Systems out of Albion and can service you all over the state and region. If you have interest in a steel building, post-frame building, or fencing, give MWR a call today at 402-980-5273 or go to mwrbuildingandfence.com.
Things that impair you come in many different shapes and sizes. Some are the shape of beer and liquor bottles. Others look like cigarettes but aren't cigarettes at all. These are the things we know impair us, the things our parents warned us about. What we're not always aware of is our new prescription or the over-the-counter medicine we picked up just for allergies or a bad cold. See, it doesn't just matter how much of a substance you take. If you are impaired, driving is deceptively dangerous. Don't drive impaired. Paid for by the NDOT Highway Safety Office.
Are you ready for a new opportunity? Check out Sandhills Global. Join a dynamic team where your skills are valued and your career can soar. We offer full-time positions with a 4.5-day work week, competitive pay, excellent benefits, and a positive work environment. From IT and marketing to sales and finance, We're looking for talented individuals like you. Apply today at sandhills.jobs and take the first step towards an exciting future. That's sandhills.jobs. Don't wait. Apply now.
Hi, everybody. Charlie Stone back again with Andy Goodyear of Honda of Lincoln. Andy, there are so many great things to talk about right now. Let's start with new and pre-owned vehicles.
Thanks, Charlie. Yeah, we're all excited those days of inventory shortages are behind us. Right now, we have more than 400 new Hondas to choose from and over 125 pre-owned with just about any make or model in stock.
I know certified pre-owned Hondas are a very important part of your dealership. Tell us about certified, Andy.
We always have a great selection of certified pre-owned Hondas in stock in like new condition, and they also come with a 7-year, 100,000-mile warranty.
How about service?
You know, our amazing service department not only services Hondas, but we service just about any make, and we are one of the largest tire dealers in the state. Look us up the next time you need tires on your car.
Experience the best at the Honda of Lincoln way of doing business, 27th and Yankee Hill Road, or online at hondaoflincoln.com.
This is Lincoln's home for sports talk on the FM dial. Also online at theticketfm.com. On the internet, KNTK FM Firth, 93.7 The Ticket. Welcome back to the Husker After Party postgame show. The Husker After Party postgame show is brought to you by Anderson Ford, Baumgars, and Vinny Kreekak of State Farm Insurance on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
That's right. We are indeed back. Husker After Party post-game show. The first depressing party we've had all year. Nebraska falls to Michigan 30-27. Doubt you needed us to tell you that, but plenty still to dissect from this game. The other game we'll be talking about coming up, as DP mentioned, Nebraska volleyball against Arizona. Huskers lead 24-23 in set 2. Just took a timeout trying to put this second set on ice. You can experience better with upfront market-based pricing at Anderson Auto Group of Lincoln. They got 2 locations, one at 27th and I-80, the other at 33rd and Yankee Hill. Big thank you to our friends at Anderson Auto Group of Lincoln. Let's keep rolling on our Starter Heyman Jewelers text line. Casey, it is only, and I say only, 7 o'clock, approximately Pacific time in California, where Casey's texting from.
Mm-hmm.
He says, I thought going into the game that if Nebraska played well and got a close loss, it would end up being a quality loss toward the end of the season. But to have Nebraska play as poorly as they did, key missed tackles, allowing explosive runs, 7 sacks, missed field goal, miss on 4th down, and still score 27 and come within a play or 2 of winning the game, that to me says Michigan is probably not as good as their ranking suggests. It looked more like a Michigan team finding ways to lose and a Nebraska team not quite good enough to take advantage.
Yeah, I'm not sure that they're attached. I don't think that they're necessarily attached. This is not a terrible Michigan team.
No, it's an average, normal, good team.
This could be a great listen. If we said Michigan beats Ohio State again, I don't know why anybody would be surprised. It's Michigan. That's the last. That was a really good football team. To tell me that you don't see the problems that Bryce Underwood would show to people. To see the bigs that they have on either side of the ball, the run and hit linebacking play, the downhill safeties that don't mind sticking their neck into it, runner 1A and 1B who put in absolute work, and if you don't bring your A game all the time, they will put your face in the turf and keep it moving. Mm-hmm. So I'm not sure exactly what you can't have the national championship expectation about anybody and everybody. It's ranked 21, like 21 or 22. It's 21 or 22. We got a crowd out there. Look at them. Look at them.
They're moving on. They're keeping it moving. All right.
Yeah. But exactly what's expected.
Let me flip this around to you because I have my own opinion on this. I want yours first. Okay. When you hear from Nebraska fans and comments like that, when you read into that, do you think that it's Nebraska fans overrating Nebraska, expecting maybe more than what Nebraska has shown? Or do you think it's underrating Nebraska's opponents, maybe not giving them enough credit?
I'm going to lean in this direction. I tend to think of in thirds. And I think most people There's a third of the people who accept rankings as is. There's a third who think it's absolutely ridiculous to even have rankings going into week 4, right? You've seen them 3 times. You don't know. You haven't seen them with cross competition. You haven't seen them against light competition. And then there's that middle third that just says, okay, I'm going to look at what I've seen. I'm going to take the data that I've seen, and then I will base it just on that. Michigan, a one-loss Michigan team who lost to a top 15 team, if that's what you're dealing with.
Who just beat another top 25 team today, by the way.
Right? That they traveled on the road without their coach and beat an undefeated Big Ten team. Exactly where's the devalue coming? Where does that happen? Based on what? From what you've seen, they're 3-1, and they just beat a Nebraska team that if you tell me Nebraska sucks and they beat them, if you tell me you think anything other than what you've seen, which is Nebraska beat 3 teams that it was supposed to beat, somewhere in that middle third is where we should land. Probably is that we don't know how good either of them are, but based on what we've seen, we can see that Michigan, they're both 3-1 teams, and Michigan is 3 points better
Than Nebraska.
Yeah.
Maybe not 3 points better than Ohio State. Maybe not 3 points better than Oregon.
Right.
But right now, Michigan is 3 points better than Nebraska.
Yep.
I really like what you said there about can't put championship expectations, or you said before, the perfection on everyone, every game, all the time. And that's where I want Husker fans to understand that since Bo Pelini, there hasn't been a lot of this. This looked like a 9-4, 8-5 kind of football team. Just like Nebraska men's basketball last year looked the part of an NIT team. They are playing to the level they are telling you they are capable of playing at.
Until they get better and play at a different level. And if they don't, they are who they are.
Right.
They're a 3-1 team right now.
I'm not putting championship expectations on Nebraska. You can put championship hopes on them, but you cannot tell me that Nebraska got worse tonight. The frustrating part, I think, for fans in a lot of cases is that either it's hard to accept that Nebraska played better because they lost, or it's hard to accept that Nebraska lost because you thought they were better.
Either way,
you end up in a very conflicted sort of position that is hard to parse through mentally and emotionally, given where this program has been and continues to be.
And don't do that to yourself. Give yourself a break.
Absolutely. Nebraska played better in this situation tonight than they have in years. That is true. Nebraska lost the game. That is true. I think that this Husker bubble is so tough sometimes because we just don't understand what we're looking at all the time outside of what we see from Nebraska. We have this idea of Nebraska in our head, and when it doesn't match reality for the better, they underperform, they suck, they're never winning another game. When they overperform for the better, they're right there, they're on the doorstep. Maybe this is the time things have changed. Let things be what they are. Let people be who they are. This Nebraska team is going to a bowl game. How good a bowl game will be determined a lot by this next week, a lot by the next 3 weeks to see where Nebraska can get. And then you start to see, okay, what's the ceiling? This isn't, I don't think, going to be the magical Matt Rule year 3, where this is the motivating, inspiring loss that Nebraska finally can piece it all together and they go on to play for a Big Ten championship like they did at Temple in the AAC or in Baylor in the Big 12. I don't think that's where this Nebraska team is headed. But I do think that this Nebraska team generally looks more solid across the board, looks better prepared, looks generally more talented, and can still be a half step, a field goal behind a more established program like Michigan.
You could say that, this was a team that played Michigan nose to nose, and a 56-yard field goal was the difference.
Yeah.
You literally could say that. And I don't know why people would just go, oh, boo. No, you could say that this thing happened and you played a Michigan team where you were one missed field goal away from free football. Right? Because the play calling changes along the way. All of that's in play. And just remember, again, a year ago, Nebraska won its first 3 games. They lost a 1-score game to Illinois. Then they beat Purdue, and then they beat Rutgers. They sat at 5-1. I'm just gonna say, let it play out.
And then let's take that half step back to go big picture. Nebraska got to what, DP? 5-3 in year one under Matt Rule. Did not close the deal. Did not get to a bowl game. Last year, guess what? Nebraska got to the same point in November. It got a little dicey, but what did Nebraska do? They took a step forward and at the very least got bowl eligible.
Wisconsin.
They did it.
Man.
They got to a bowl game. I am not going to take 5-1 for granted for this Nebraska football team. They got to go out there and they got to win the next two games. Michigan State is not what they were under Mark D'Antonio. Plain and simple. But guess what? They are a good enough football team to beat Nebraska. But Nebraska is a good enough football team to handle Michigan State at home after a bye. Both things can be true, and that's why you play the game, to see who you are on any given night and to see who you are in the big picture. If Nebraska gets to 5-1 again, let's play this out. Let's say Nebraska wins the next two at home before the road trip to Maryland. Then, to me, the next step of growth for this program is...
Well, it's just one game before. They play Michigan State, then they go to Maryland.
Okay, yeah,
They have a
sorry.
bye week.
Sorry, yes, bye week, Michigan State.
Maryland.
So let's say they're 4-1. You know, maybe they, regardless, right? 4-2, 5-1, not a huge difference. Essentially everything's still on the table for Nebraska. To me, the next step this program is going to have to take is handling business in October to put yourself in position to be in position like they've done the last 2 years. And then November. This is a game that Nebraska needs to be able to point back to and say, we learned lessons from this game. You would have loved to have won this game in September. It would have been a big moment for the program. It would not have been everything. It would not have been program defining if you won. It cannot be program defining if you lose. Take your lumps, learn your lessons, get better, and be better in November. So if you are 5-1, or what would you be? You know, if you're 6-2 entering November, just as a hypothetical, that you don't end up 6-6. That you end up at least 8-4, where you can split November because you've gotten better over the course of 3 years as a program.
I don't know what see. Again, the expectation thing is what wears me out, right? The expectation thing wears me out because we don't know these teams that well. We're talking about week 4. We're literally talking about week 4, and based on most discussion, the first prominent, consistent, considerable opponent. And you competed. This was a competitive game. You didn't get blown out. It didn't look horrific. It was competitive. Like one play here or there, that's competitive, right? Here or there. But I don't want to put 8-4 on the table for this team because we don't know them like that. We don't know them that well. We just met them.
Well, that's why I tried to phrase as a hypothetical. I'm not predicting
we
8-4.
just saw it in the day. We just saw an offense where Dylan throws the ball 40 times and Luke Lindenmeyer gets as many targets as Dane Key. Not exactly what we expected. So we're just learning. We're trying to watch what does 51 do against quality Big Ten bigs? What's Prohaska?
Will we see more of those?
Oh, you betcha. You betcha. You betcha. Right? To find out, wait a minute, we have some playmakers outside and they weren't exactly loud today. Right? We saw second and third runners. What did we see? What do we know? We watched linebackers under attack. We saw Judy make plays that he hadn't made since he's been here.
Yeah.
Right?
His whole career even.
So quite frankly, I reel it back and go, you have 2 weeks to prepare for Michigan State and Lincoln. That's it. Look, man, fix the things you can fix. Don't care what Michigan State does between now and then. Fix the things you can fix. Heal bodies, get healthy, get back in film study, recover, but beat Michigan State. Don't particularly care to look past. I'm not looking at Maryland because you start looking ahead, then you can go, oh, well, Maryland's undefeated. That's a loss. Then a short week after Maryland, and going to Minneapolis on a Friday night. It's an even shorter week, right? So problem. Before you know it, you're 4-3 if it turns, or 3-4. Right. So no. Let's go 1-0. Let's figure out how to ruin Sparty's Saturday. I think that's more than enough. That is enough to focus on.
Right now, it's 8-3 Nebraska in the third set over Arizona. DP, I'm going to get out of here after this one. I want to take a peek at some Big Ten scores here.
Okay.
Some interesting stuff going on.
Yep.
The games that are over, Oregon blasts Oregon State 41-7. Ducks haven't really been tested. They got Penn State next week. They travel to Happy Valley. That'll be interesting. Purdue hangs 30 on Notre Dame in a 26-point loss. And Maryland does indeed move to 4-0 with a 27-10 win over Wisconsin. Badgers sit now just 2-2 after missing a bowl for the first time in like 27 years last season. You mentioned Iowa beating Rutgers 38-28. You tend to think that Kirk Ferentz and Tim Lester and company are taking today's film from Nebraska and licking their chops. In terms of games in progress, got two of them. Another rivalry game in the old Pac-12. Washington up 2 scores on Washington State. And how about this, DP? Before we get to our Honda of Lincoln hotline,
Sir,
Indiana.
Sir,
Who's your daddy?
Sir,
all over Brett.
Google me. Google me.
49-10 who's?
Google me. He said, "Listen, y'all better recognize. You better recognize 49-10 over the Fighting Illini. Man,
Fernando Mendoza, 20 of 22 through the air, 256 yards and 5 tutties.
Google me, bro. This is what we're doing, man. Wow.
To play. We got someone on our Honda of Lincoln hotline. We got Randy. Randy, a good evening to you. What's on your mind?
Hey, Randy from Elkhorn. Just got a quick question about Dylan this evening or this afternoon. Just from his quarterback play, I mean, he looks more of like a finesse player. I mean, from what we've had prior, I mean, we've had some good quarterbacks come through the program. Does he fit our what we're looking for as a Big Ten player, as a quarterback? I mean, what are we looking at? I mean, we got TJ Lateef sitting back there, a guy that can scramble, a guy that can move the ball around. Where are we? That's the question.
Okay, 2 questions for you, Randy. Number 1, what do you mean by finesse?
I mean, he seems like he just wants to toss the ball up and see if the player can, the quarterback, but the wide receiver can make a play on it instead of getting that ball to the wide receiver.
Okay, and then second question.
That's what I'm seeing.
Second question, are you calling for TJ Lateef to be Nebraska's starter?
As far as being as a starter, no. I think the TJ needs a little bit more time to be in the program. But I think Dylan needs to be challenged a little bit more.
Okay, Randy from Elkhorn, thanks for the call. Appreciate you listening.
Twofold. Some would have said prior to Dylan Raiola that the quality of quarterback play wasn't good enough. And the type of quarterback Nebraska was recruiting and getting wasn't getting it done. So we can say for the last 4 of the last 5 years, pre-Dylan, that some questions arose about what was asked, the style of play, and whether it was something that you could keep forward. We also can say that in every metric and every measure, we can see Dylan Raiola as an NFL quarterback. Like, that's the mission, style of play, decision-making. But also remember, that is because not only because of arm talent, but because what is asked of Dylan. Dylan does more behind center and in the huddle than most, I would say, 80% of quarterbacks in the Big Ten Conference. He's asked to make reads. As a matter of fact, Biff was saying earlier in the week that he's one of few quarterbacks in the country who can make those reads pre-snap and then make the play and make the throw that needed to happen. So I don't think Dylan's the problem, and I certainly don't think finesse player. No, if you want Adrian Martinez, then that's a different deal. But the difference between Tommy Frazier and Vince Ferragamo, right? The difference between Jerry Taggy and David Hum is that they're different types of players. And in this day and age, Dylan is exactly what Nebraska needed on the field and off. Now, do I want to see Dylan put plant the seed that he can pull the ball on zone read and actually hold a defender so that Emmett has one less person to beat, or that he can beat the corner, beat the boundary and get a first down on 3rd and 3. That's what I want to see. I don't need for him to be Tommy Frazier, Brooke Behringer, none of that. I don't need for him to be Adrian Martinez. I need him to be the best Dylan he can be.
I think a couple things on that. Number one, Husker fans, let's just take it back to the guys that were probably most similar in style to Dylan Raiola. You wished Casey Thompson had the supporting cast and the consistency that Dylan Raiola did and does.
Yeah.
You wished and hoped that Tanner Lee had the same processing ability, touch, and accuracy that Dylan Raiola does. Okay, those are the last kind of more traditional pocket guys. In this day and age of football, you need a quarterback that's willing to do what you said there, DP, with his legs. I think it's clear to see Dylan's gotten better with that. I don't think Nebraska's asking him to do it. Maybe there's some do your job and then go make a play involved if they trust him to make the read. But here's my big hope. And I think the goal for the program is, if you're not going to ask Dylan to do that, if that's off the table, you think he's too valuable, because he has been a huge step up in terms of just playing the position of quarterback for Nebraska over the last handful of years. If you're not going to plant those seeds in his mind to give him to plant in the defense's mind, they know what you got to do. You got to be better up front to be able to run the ball with your running backs more consistently. You got to be willing to go under center and be able to run the ball on 3rd and 3. If you don't want Dylan to have to pull, then you got to be better up front. You've got to get better running backs that make guys miss and get those tough yards. So you don't need to ask Dylan to do that.
Yeah, it is a big part of the things that are going on. And when we talk about Nebraska players, there is what's being asked of them and then what's demanded of themselves. Nobody asked more of themselves in this program than Dylan Raiola. So there's that part. Yes, I understand his reluctance to take shots, but I don't know. I can think of, Tom Brady, who didn't exactly build his career on pulling the ball and making himself a target. No, he figured out, if I do this 3 times a game where I move the pocket or I go and get a first down and get back in the huddle, all fancy and good. Russell Wilson changed his game over the course of the years. Aaron Rodgers said, you know what? I need to be mobile in the pocket. And then if nothing else is there, I'll go get 4 and get back in the huddle. I'm good with that. You don't need to be Danny Dimes, your boy.
My boy.
Danny Dimes. You don't need to be that. You can be the best version of Dylan, which carries a lot of burden. There's a lot.
I can agree that Dylan, it would be nice if Dylan would look a little bit more athletic when he ran in the open field. He's got some of the Taylor Martinez stand straight up. Looks like a guy that hasn't taken many hits like that as a runner, probably because he hasn't been asked to. And I would much rather Nebraska spend time on getting Dylan Raiola better footwork in the pocket, at making sure he's more mentally prepared for the reads that he's going to face. I'd rather Dylan get 10% better, 5% better there than get 10% faster.
Well, I don't know. I don't need for him to be faster. I mean, Aaron Rodgers is not the fastest guy, but he can move his feet enough to get into a lane. And I don't know that Dylan's footwork, in pocket footwork, is bad. Here's the thing.
I'm just saying always be better, right? Something even NFL people will harp on. So.
Well, I mean,
it's just an example.
They won't. There is not one person who has perfect footwork in the NFL.
No,
they don't give that to people.
It was just an offhand example.
So but if he's asking of himself to be more fluid in the pocket, that's a different thing than better footwork. Because footwork is placement on time, on purpose. Can I step in? The assumption is that I can step into windows that are going to be clean. And windows ain't always clean, especially when you don't block it well. Being able to be mobile and get to a place where you can throw on the run rather than run for your life. And those are different things entirely. I'm fine with Dylan's mobility. I just think that in planning to see, there are ways to process him in this space where he, on zone read, he pulls and gets into the space where he's holding a defender. That's literally, if it's one linebacker or one safety, I can dance with, that frees up Emmett or gets out of Dane Key's way or gets out of Luke's way. It's a win, right? I'm going to uncap my skill players by running 3 times a game.
The other part of finesse, before I turn you over to the great hands of Rudy Grace, is part of the, I wonder if part of the finesse, right? And some of the questions that were asked about Dylan last year, is he fiery enough, is just because of his demeanor in his throwing motion. It looks easy. It looks simple. He takes some of those kind of walking steps after he throws the ball. It's not a Nolan Ryan rearing back to reach 100 every time.
Mm-hmm.
Dylan has a good enough arm. Is it elite 1%, can huck the ball 80 yards down the field, fit it into NFL speed windows elite? No, it's not. But guess what? It's good enough for what Nebraska has asked Dylan Raiola to do. It's good enough that it gets him in trouble sometimes where he thinks he can force throws that might not be there. And yes, maybe Randy and Elkhorn, you just called, thinks that the little underhand flip that got Emmett Johnson rocked is a finesse play. To just go take the 3 yards and go down with it, that can be your opinion. But part of, I think, the finesse comes from Dylan's throwing motion being so clean, pretty repetitive. I think it's gotten cleaned up over the year. And he makes some of those throws look easy where he doesn't have to put maximum effort into it, as opposed to a guy like Bryce Underwood, new to college football, that you can see there's a rocket arm there. And he shows it off very consistently.
Well, I mean, we can literally name 2 throws this season. 2 throws this whole year where we went, oh, that was obviously that's not what that was supposed to be.
Mm-hmm.
That's it.
Mm-hmm.
That's out of 200 throws. Chill. Chill out, people. Chill out. Let that dude be that dude.
I'm going to chill out. I'm going to call it a night here, DP. Thanks
Yes,
for
sir.
hanging in there. Volleyball postgame comes your way sooner than later. Nebraska leads Arizona 19-14. We'll turn things over to DP and Rudy as we continue. Husker After Party /1-on-1/volleyball postgame here, 93.7 Ticket, ticketfm.com.
This fall, Baumgars has everything you need to get your farm ready for the season. Stock up on livestock feed, deer corn, and pine shavings to keep your animals fed and your farm running smoothly. Need tools for your fall projects? Grab DeWalt power tools and grass seed to keep your fields in top shape before winter. From your barn to your backyard, Baumgars has you covered. Get ready for the season with everything you need to finish those fall fix-ups. Baumgars, field, farm, and fall fix-ups.
Select Plumbing and Utility has been serving Lincoln and the surrounding area for 14 years, and they're not slowing down. Select Plumbing and Utility handles all your plumbing needs, from faucets and water heaters to full renovations, and they can even help with your heating and cooling needs. They're also Lincoln's underground experts, repairing and replacing broken underground water and sewer lines since day one. Contact Select Plumbing and Utility today at 402-560-6197, assuring excellence in every situation, opportunity, and challenge. That's 402-560-6197.
World, we specialize in replacement windows, doors, siding, and roofing. Whether you're looking to enhance the beauty of your home or increase its energy efficiency, we've got you covered. And here's the best part. We offer the best for less. Our team is dedicated to providing top quality products and exceptional service at affordable prices. We want to earn your business and make your home improvement dreams a reality. So why wait? Contact Window World Lincoln today at 464-7313 or visit our website at windowworldlincoln.com. Window World Lincoln, where quality meets affordability.
Nebraska farmers, harvest is here and every gallon counts. That's why Sapp Brothers Petroleum launched the Go Big Red Fuel Giveaway. When you contract your fuel with Sapp Brothers, enter to win $1,000 in fuel credits. As Husker Country knows, the only thing stronger than the roar at Memorial Stadium is the drive of a farmer putting food on the table. Fuel your farm with Sapp Brothers Petroleum and enter to win $1,000 in fuel credits. Visit sapbros.net today. Sapp Brothers Petroleum, fueling the heartland. Go Big Red.
93.7 The Ticket is your home for every Kansas City Royals baseball game. Bobby Witt Jr., Salvador Perez, Vinny Pasquantino, and the rest of the Royals attempt to make the postseason for the second season in a row. And you can hear all the action on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com. Your home for Kansas City Royals baseball.
93.7 The Ticket is proud to provide listeners with daily opportunities to win contests and prizes on our airwaves, and would like to take this opportunity to remind you of a couple rules. All participants must be 21 or older and must wait 30 days after winning a prize to participate in another contest. Once you win, you have 30 days to pick up your prize at the KNTK Studios, 1040 O Street in Lincoln, or your prize will be forfeited. Thank you for participating in our contests, and thank you for listening to 93.7 The Ticket.
As an 18-year-old, I let my mistakes kind of take over my life.
I was 0.5 credits away from completing high school, and I didn't do it.
10 years later, at age 28, Jackie finished her high school diploma.
When I found out that I was pregnant, I know that I had to do something for myself if I wanted to make her a better person and provide a better life for her. My family never stopped pushing for me to be better because they knew what I could become and who I could become as a person. My support team is amazing. The educational director, my sister, and even my 7-year-old daughter has just been more than the support that I could ask for. I've been given an opportunity, and I'm just thankful for it.
No one gets a diploma alone. If you're thinking of finishing your high school diploma, you have help. Find free adult education classes near you at finishyourdiploma.org. That's finishyourdiploma.org. Brought to you by the Dollar General Literacy Foundation and the Ad Council.
1 in 3 adults has prediabetes. 1 in 3. That means it could be you, your football buddy, your football buddy, or you, your best man, your worst man, you, your dog walker, your cat jogger. While 1 in 3 adults has prediabetes, with early diagnosis, prediabetes can be reversed. Take the risk test at doihaveprediabetes.org. That's doihaveprediabetes.org.
Wait, did they just say 1 in 3 adults has prediabetes? That's 33.33333% of adults. That means it could be me, my boss, or my boss's boss, or me, my favorite sister, or my other sister. That's 7 members of my 21-person romantic book club. Wait, the 1 in 3 could be me, my karaoke partner Carol, or my karaoke enemy Jeff. I'm going to take the risk test at doihaveprediabetes.org.
Brought to you by the Ad Council and its Prediabetes Awareness Partners.
If you came across someone struggling with hunger, how would you recognize them?
By their clothes,
Their age?
the way they speak. Hunger can be hard to recognize. Learn why at IamHungerInAmerica.org. Brought to you by Feeding America, 200 Food Bank Strong, and the Ad Council.
Welcome back to the Husker After Party Postgame Show. The Husker After Party Postgame Show is brought to you by Anderson Ford, Baumgars, and Vinny Kreekak of State Farm Insurance on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Welcome back. It is an interesting evening in downtown Lincoln, and we're trying not to take the not to set the temperature of the room, but to take the temperature of the room in downtown and see what's going on. It is the post game to a 30-27 Michigan win over Nebraska. We've been setting the table throughout the course of the day, and then to prepare you for Husker volleyball post game. Now that match just went final. Huskers sweep Arizona. They win 2018 in the third set. We will have our main feature, our main analyst, Mandy Monson, to come through as long in the amount, whatever amount of time it takes her to get from Devaney Center over here to 93.7 The Ticket. Rudy joins me, and I'm going to have Rudy have his eyes to the wall and to the door to make sure that when Mandy gets here, she can get in. Yes. She has your number, so we can do that. It's a 25-19, 25-23, and a 25-18 sweep for the number one ranked Huskers. They improved to 10-0, and we'll get the particulars for that and have Mandy break down some of what she saw tonight at Devaney Center. As far as the Huskers football program, interesting enough, and again, we've been tracking the fall sports that women's soccer is 5-0-4. They're still undefeated. Nebraska volleyball is now 10-0, and Nebraska football taking its first loss. But I try not to tell people how to feel about how they watch and process Nebraska football. A big part of the text line is getting your feelings, and then kind of going from there. It is, and by the way, if you're texting from London, bless your heart, job well done. I was asked a question about the timing that affects a quarterback in Dylan Rail. Now, when you ask me that question, there's a couple things in play. One, that his normal speed based on the repetitions that he takes at practice. Then there's the processing time of game speed versus practice speed. The two are not the same. And then imagine that the game speed involved that we're talking about comparing the speed that he could get away with things against Akron versus the speed of him facing two NFL first and second round draft picks coming at him. Oh, and by the way, Eric Hausman coming off the edge as well. Michigan's game speed is different than everybody else's. That's why they're Michigan. And Dylan, some things were hidden from him. So they gave him looks that weren't what they traditionally would set up in and what they would line up in. And then they would move to a different coverage. Dylan had to adjust. Dylan had to, and in that adjustment, sometimes these are slow developing route combinations that requires that you get past the corner, above the numbers, and into a space on green on time before the pass rushers get home. It's not that easy. It's not that simple. I think what and watching Dylan tonight, and again, the numbers were, let me pull up the numbers. I think the numbers are pretty good, as a matter of fact, that if he was 30 of 41 for 308 yards, 3 touchdowns, 1 interception. And people will harp on the interception. They will harp on the 7 sacks. The 7 sacks tell a story, absolutely tell a story, but it's the number of pressures. How many times of those 41 actual attempts and the 7 sacks, which add to the drops, and then a number of drops where he simply did something else, maybe even audibled out and get through? It's a long process. It's a lot. It is a lot to ask of somebody starting in their 17th college football game at the Nebraska level against a team that won a national title 2 years ago, and the players that are in the fold. It's just different. It's just different. And I want to be respectful to the young man because, quite frankly, 30 of 41 for 303 tutties. There's a number that was passed along that it's been 4 years since somebody's thrown for 303 tutties against Michigan. The last one, Carson Beck, Georgia. So it's not an easy thing to do against those schemes and those players. It's not easy to do. Dylan did that thing. Now, Dylan was upset because, he heard some boos and he didn't get the desired result. Understood. I love the fact that when they said, listen, don't blame the offensive line, blame me. That's leadership in my mind, that we can go through and figure out, listen, some of it is getting into and changing pass pros. Some of it is audibling to a secondary call. And some of it is just miscalculating the time. Often it is seeing a thing the way that it is, you think it is, and then it adjusts. And under live action, it's a different time. So it's space. Here's what we'll do. We'll throw it to break here, and we will come back and we will launch into we'll double the post game. So we'll do some football post game if you want to text in about that. We'll do some volleyball post game if you want to text in about that. And then when Manny Monson gets here, we will go in full with the Husker volleyball post game. Again, they win in 3 sets against Arizona, improved to 10-0.
0 after every Nebraska football game. There's only one place to go for instant coverage. Tune in for the Husker After Party Postgame Show on 93.7 The Ticket for each game, win or lose. Call in with all your takes or text the show at 464-5685 and hear quotes from the players and coaches, too. It's the Husker After Party Postgame Show, sponsored by Anderson Ford and Vinny Krikak of State Farm Insurance.
Stonebrook Exterior is your trusted partner in exterior solutions for both residential and commercial projects across Lincoln and Omaha. With over 2 decades of expertise, they deliver everything your building needs, all under one roof. From roofing and siding to gutters, wall systems, custom masonry, and metalwork, Stonebrook handles it all with precision, safety, and professionalism. Take the worry out of your exterior projects. Choose Stonebrook Exterior, where quality, safety, and service come together seamlessly. Visit stonebrookexterior.com or call 402-438-5559 to get your free quote today.
How was your drive to school?
Let me tell you, I had to get my iced coffee first. I just can't seem to put it down. My favorite rapper just announced a tour. My phone was buzzing like crazy. I'm so excited. I had to text all my friends right then to talk about it. Then someone started calling me and...
Let's try that again.
I turned my phone off right away. I never drive distracted.
Visit StopTextStopWrecks.org. A message brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, Project Yellow Light, and the Ad Council.
Sometimes I just cannot believe all the storms we've gone through here. I can only hope that we'll be able to leave this house to you one day, baby. You're our legacy.
Planning for these disasters will make sure we're safe, and is the best way to protect that legacy.
Protect your legacy. Visit ready.gov/plan for the tools and tips you need to start your emergency preparedness plan today. Brought to you by FEMA and the Ad Council.
Hey Husker Nation, this is Todd Euler, two-time national champion, here to talk to you about Window World Lincoln. At Window World, we specialize in replacement windows, doors, siding, and roofing. Whether you're looking to enhance the beauty of your home or increase its energy efficiency, we've got you covered. And here's the best part. We offer the best for less. Our team is dedicated to providing top quality products and exceptional service at affordable prices. We want to earn your business and make your home improvement dreams a reality. So why wait? Contact Window World Lincoln today at 464-7313 or visit our website at WindowWorldLincoln.com. Window World Lincoln, where quality meets affordability.
They're too young to vape.
E-cigarettes are the most used tobacco products among youth.
They know vaping is dangerous, don't they?
The majority of youth who vape use flavored products, the kind designed to seem harmless.
If they were vaping, I'd be able to tell.
Many vapes are small, discreet, and resemble everyday items. Don't avoid the conversation. Talk to your kids about vaping. Paid for by Tobacco Free Nebraska. Aired in association with the Nebraska Broadcasters Association and the station.
I'm Kirk Herbstreit, and today I'm eating Raising Cane's. I want a solid bench of 4 chicken fingers, crinkle cut fries with Texas toast. Now back to you, Todd.
So the usual.
Make Raising Cane's part of your game day lineup.
Mario fue pintor más de 30 años. Cuando me dijo que se le estaban olvidando las cosas, fue difícil. Un día me dijeron que pintara el marco del lado por dentro y pinté el lado de afuera.
Yo le diría a la gente que le diga a su familia lo que está pasando con él.
Si algo se nota diferente, podría ser Alzheimer. Es momento de hablarlo. Visita alz.org/nuestras historias para saber más. Un mensaje de the Alzheimer's Association y the Ad Council.
The Kindler Hotel in downtown Lincoln is a boutique hotel experience unlike any other in the area. Their 45 well-appointed rooms take inspiration from the history of Lincoln. Their double queen rooms are great for guests traveling with family, and the suites are great for a business trip or romantic getaway. No trip to the Kindler is complete without a handcrafted cocktail from Boitano's Lounge on the main floor, with comfortable seating options both inside and on the outside patio. Book your room today at thekindlerhotel.com in Lincoln at 11th and P.
Ashiro's work is never done. You care for the house, the kids, and our future. We're so grateful for all you do. Now it's time to care for yourself and save a little more for retirement. A free 3-minute online chat can give you the personalized tips you need to boost your retirement savings now. Visit aceyourretirement.org/Shiro today.
A public service announcement brought to you by AARP and the Ad Council.
Welcome back to the Husker After Party Postgame Show. The Husker After Party Postgame Show is brought to you by Anderson Ford, Baumgars, and Vinny Kreekak of State Farm Insurance on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Welcome to it on a live Saturday night. The Starter Heyman text line is 402-464-5685. You want to be part of what we're doing, you can be a part of what we're doing. Shout us out, and we will include you in the conversation. Greatly appreciate it. We are going to jump from Nebraska football and the 30-27 loss to Michigan to the number one ranked Nebraska volleyball team with a 3-set sweep of Arizona at Devaney Center. Now, some of the numbers, and again, the best part is that Mandy Monson will be on her way. She's on her way from Devaney, however long it takes, I would imagine top of the hour as a plan. So, Rudy, you can plan accordingly. But a 3-dozen sweep, 25-19 set 1, 25-23 set 2, and 25-18 in set 3. There was a push in set in set number 2 where Danny Buswell-Kelly had to call a timeout late to reset to get set point pushed across. I'm intrigued to ask Mandy some things because Nebraska has this depth of talent. They have this depth of talent in this space. And to watch them maneuver personnel and to manage top level players in the space to get them to work. Sometimes it is based on production. Sometimes it's based on matchup. Sometimes, it could be based on quite frankly, who's playing the best at that particular moment. But with Lainey Choboy, Bergen Riley, Olivia Mount, I find it fascinating because there's just not enough room. There's just not enough time. There's not enough rotations. Any of those three, so those three, you had 9 digs, 11 by Olivia, 7 by Lainey Choboy, and 6 for Bergen Riley. Now, Bergen Riley does everything. She's a top-level utility knife, a Swiss Army knife that does everything on the floor well. But to have Olivia Mount, who doesn't get all the publicity, doesn't get all the notoriety, but she's putting herself in a place where teams have to now scheme against her. Then ball distribution and getting shots and efforts. We see y'all out there tonight. That feeding all the beasts that need to be fed at the pen is pretty impressive that you manage to keep people happy. I think it's accepted that Harper Murray gets the most attacks. She gets fed the most. But Andy Jackson is a finisher of All-American caliber. And then you add to it, you bring in Virginia Adriano, and she had 16 attacks tonight. That's pretty impressive. And remember that there was some time that she was not in the rotation in full. Bergen Riley hitting at a high efficiency. She hit at 571. Of course, Rebecca Alec at the net is pretty effective. As a matter of fact, she was pretty high in the country, the national rankings a year ago. And then now add Virginia Adriano as somebody that is getting the attempts and is finishing. The kill leaders tonight, Harper Murray led the Huskers with 14, Adriano with 9, Andy Jackson with 9. I was trying to make sure that I didn't set the table for Nebraska to take Arizona lightly, because Tuesday night, Nebraska's playing Creighton in a 5-setter. It's a rivalry, interstate rivalry, and you don't want to take anyone for granted. They're a top 20 program. I'm trying to think, they were ranked 16 or 18 16 going into the week, 18 by Tuesday night, I think, were the actual numbers. And then watching Nebraska finish the 5-set win against Creighton, well, my eyes were flipped to Arizona, and Arizona was hosting a match against UTEP. And not for nothing, but UTEP travels to the University of Arizona and gets a win in 4 sets. And I thought, oh boy. Oh, okay. This will set the tone. This will reset the table for Nebraska and Arizona. If you're Arizona, yeah, you didn't take lightly. You didn't take that kindly. And then you've got to figure out, okay, how do we regroup, reset the tables? And quite frankly, they played better tonight against Nebraska than they did against Utah. They looked more focused. They looked like they had a plan of attack. Yeah, the sweep happened, but that's the number one program in the country. And there's so many weapons on Nebraska. And truth be told, we had a couple of the Arizona young ladies hang out at the mill for a bit. And they talked about the weapons, that Nebraska's weapons, that from point to point, from set to set, you never quite know where it's coming from or from who. And that everybody that they have, they listed just 7 finishers of people that, you know what, you ideally like to double team them. And if you go one-on-one with them at the pen or at the net, it wasn't going to be easy. It wasn't going to be easy. So they knew coming in what this was going to look like. They played well. I think they played better than they did against UTEP, but not good enough to beat the number 1 ranked Huskers. On the leaderboard, it's always okay. So Rudy, let me bring you in because I'm going to ask you just for you to plant your flag. When it comes to attacks and kills, when you watch the Huskers and you had to choose who to defend as a priority, who would you choose?
I think I was watching the game back there a little bit too. I think you got to focus on Harper Murray regardless. But like you're saying, you focus on one person there, there's someone else is going to open up wide open. It's like picking your poison, honestly, against this team right now.
It was. I'm not sure. I watched Wisconsin, Penn State, Florida. My eyes are rolling around at how deep the NCAA volleyball talent pool is and how good some of the teams are. I mean, we can go as far as Texas A&M. Florida and Pitt have athletes along the way. Texas is always going to be Texas. It seems like that's going to be the case. And then SMU, Texas A&M, deeply talented. They invest a lot into their women's high school volleyball, and it shows up on the college level. Pitt and Penn State out east, kind of holding it down, and in the middle of the country with Nebraska and Wisconsin fighting their way through. But I'm always fascinated at the depth of talent. Everybody in the top 10 has 4 exceptional hitters that are tough to defend. The defense, and shout out to Rebecca Alec and Bergen Riley for what they do for Nebraska defensively, but it's just not that simple. It's just not that simple to have that sort of depth and to be able to make plays along the way. And Nebraska steals a lot of points at the net, but having defenders, you've done you can't replace Lexi Rodriguez, but you can share some of all the things that she did well, whether it be from leadership, organization, verbal communication on the floor, and then decision-making with the ball on her hands. And then, oh, by the way, there's a new head coach. And trying to find, I was talking to Jalen Reyes, and I wanted to ask him some of the differences, right, between John Cook and Danny Busboom-Kelly. And it came down to it's just personality traits, just small things. They're both extremely hard workers. They both are extremely of high IQ when it comes to this thing and great personnel managers. They love the sport. They love the game. And then they understand what it means to be a Husker and the value and priority of Nebraska volleyball. And that's a thing to say out loud, that you're carrying those things, but there were so many things that could have gone wrong that haven't. Listen, you have a new head coach. You have a new head coach, and you have a new head coach that just added to her family. There's some other things. And somehow Nebraska volleyball, and again, it's a stellar assistant coaching staff. They are all leaders and they're all prominent in what they do and what their responsibilities are. But to watch them in game, in match, and the way the communication works, that Danny Busby-Kelly delegates, but also is fully in control. I want to ask Mandy this question about when did it or does it become Danny Busby-Kelly's team in full, right? Because Jalen and crew are established. They've been there from setting up and organizing practices, the recruiting aspect of it, handling a lot of the academic stuff, the social media stuff, all of the adjustments that have to be made. And to do that and keep a program of note, not only where it was, but to lead it to number one in the country. So I can't wait to pick her brain on this thing. Somebody that was raised in the program, has eyes on the program. She's still around it. One of her daughter still plays on the high school level, and so she's still around the game. And I can't wait to just dive into it over the course of the rest of the season. We tend to lock in. I don't want to put additional pressure on this program or this team. The program has built its legacy. It has its place in Nebraska lore, Husker lore, volleyball. Again, 90 plus thousand at Memorial Stadium. It's a one-of-a-kind event, a one-time event that had never been done before, and most likely won't be replicated or duplicated anytime soon, especially not anywhere else. Then the way it rolls over in their place and their involvement with the professional game, and that in two different leagues, whether it be Love or the Pro Volleyball Federation and its latest iteration, that Husker players are prominent as the North Stars and the standards for women's professional volleyball. And to do all of that, then let's have the first serve event and move all of your things over to Pinnacle Bank Arena. Invite in the reigning, defending national champions in Penn State. Bring them into the fold. Bring in number 3 Pitt and number 6 Florida, or were they reversed? Stanford also in the top 10 or top 15, and then have this event put on the best possible show and highlighting women's college volleyball from the very first serve of the season, and to hold it on and to show that, quite frankly, yeah, we're that good that we can put on this event, accept all the distraction, not get caught off guard by the new coach and new leadership, and then elevate and amplify the sport. It's just going to be cool to have these conversations, talk about it. So here's what we're going to do. Mandy's in the building. We'll throw it to break. We'll reset for the first hour of postgame. Mandy Monson will join me here on 93.7 The Ticket.
When the clock strikes 0 after every Nebraska football game, there's only one place to go for instant coverage. Tune in for the Husker After Party Postgame Show on 93.7 The Ticket for each game, win or lose. Call in with all your takes or text the show at 464-5685 and hear quotes from the players and coaches, too. It's the Husker After Party Postgame Show, sponsored by Anderson Ford and Vinny Kreekak of State Farm Insurance.
Okay, kids, Dad's gonna teach you how to dance. First, spread your feet apart. Then, pump your knee, nod your head, shake your hips, and bite your lip ever so slightly. Now, with one hand in the air, point at people with the other hand. I call that the rock star.